This is a contract gem that was deemed utterly useless. Being thrown away as trash should have been its ultimate fate. But when you saw its cross-section, which looked exactly like matcha jelly, a bold idea suddenly sprouted in your mind. Then, disregarding everything, you ate it right in front of everyone. The whole school mocked you as a delusional madman, but what they didn't know was that you had actually formed a contract with yourself and gained absolute control over your own body. You immediately ordered yourself to do 500 push-ups on the spot. But little did you know, this was only just the beginning. Because after you absorbed the energy of the second gem, you saw the most shocking truth of this world. At this moment, you used a knife to cut open what the world considered a useless awakening stone. You felt a bit disappointed. But right at that moment, looking at the sliced crystal, you surprisingly felt a surge of craving. The cross-section was smooth and crystal clear, with a bright and vibrant color. It looked exactly like matcha jelly. Wait, a crazy thought exploded in your mind. What if I absorbed it myself, controlling myself, gaining 100% mastery over my own body? This would be an unprecedented path. Anyway, the worst-case scenario is just energy loss. Without hesitation, you placed it in your palm and guided its energy into your body. Other creatures might reject it, but not you. As the crystal's energy entered your core, an indescribable feeling washed over you. It was as if your body and consciousness had perfectly merged into one. After a long while, you opened your eyes and silently commanded, "Pour a glass of water." Immediately, your body moved on its own, like an observer. You watched your legs get out of bed, walk to the table, pick up the cup, and pour the water. The entire process was incredibly smooth and unstoppable. Although it still consumed your own stamina, you didn't need to consciously focus on controlling your movements. Do 500 push-ups. After drinking the water, you issued a new command. Go! Your body dropped to the floor and began doing push-ups at rapid speed. 1, 2, 100. By the time you reached 250, your muscles were already incredibly sore, and your willpower had reached its limit. But under the absolute command, your body just kept going. Finally, 500 push-ups were completed. You lay collapsed on the floor, completely exhausted, unable to move even a single finger, yet a massive smile bloomed on your face. This is too interesting. This ability is the ultimate self-discipline tool, although it doesn't seem to have any major uses right now. At least it allows you to break past your limits when exercising. The next day, at dawn, while you were still fast asleep, your eyes automatically opened. Your body dressed itself, walked out of the dorm, went to the track, and started running. This was the command you set for yourself the night before. Wake up at 4 a.m. to run. Your consciousness was still drifting in a dream, but your body acted like a precision machine, faithfully executing its programming. By the time 6 o'clock rolled around and you fully woke up, you were already sitting in the cafeteria. In front of you sat a bowl of plain congee and 3 steamed buns. Not bad at all. The corners of your mouth kept curving up, praising your own genius idea. Just then, a commotion broke out not far away. Luo Shiyu. Good morning, goddess. I've already grabbed breakfast for you. You looked toward the sound, knowing that Luo Shiyu, the school beauty from the next class, had arrived. She was extremely popular, with countless fans. Your former roommate was one of her followers. As you chewed on your bun, you habitually looked up. The next second, your pupils instantly shrank to pinpricks. You violently snapped your head down, using the motion of eating congee to hide the storm of shock in your heart. In your memory, Shiyu was a girl with a stunning face and figure. But just now, what you saw was a massive, upright-walking fox-like beast. Its face was covered with a mimicry camouflage of a young girl, swaggering right through the crowd, and everyone around it was looking at it with absolute adoration, as if completely oblivious to the truth. What on earth was going on? Jiang Ping, good morning. As the monster passed by you, it let out a hoarse greeting that somehow sounded beautiful to everyone else. You were screaming at yourself internally. Stay calm. Stay absolutely calm. Without changing your expression, you nodded. Luo Shiyu, good morning. Fortunately, it didn't stop and just kept walking forward. You finished your breakfast faster than ever before in your life and left the cafeteria like usual. As a mentally mature adult, you understood that you couldn't afford to act suspiciously right now. You walked calmly toward the teaching building. Your destination was the staff room. However, when you reached the door and looked through the glass to see a teacher's true form, was also a monster wearing a human disguise. You walked right past the door without changing your expression. Even the teachers aren't reliable. This is a huge problem. 2 of them lurking in just one school. What about the rest of the city? In this city, who's really in charge? You hid in an empty corner, your feelings in turmoil. It seems there's a lot about my ability that I still don't understand. You were absolutely sure that before you absorbed that crystal, you were just like everyone else, unable to see through the disguises. Therefore, this newfound vision stemmed directly from that contract gem. You reached out your hand again, manifesting a new gem, and absorbed its energy without hesitation. If one gem could let you see the truth, what would a second one do? Boom. This time, the sensation was completely different. If yesterday felt like a perfect unity of body and mind, then right now felt like a profound connection with the universe itself. Your 5 senses were magnified infinitely, and the entire world became brighter and more vivid to you than ever before. You open your eyes. Your gaze sweeps across the classroom. When your eyes land on an empty desk, you sharply detect a faint, lingering scent of energy residue. Immediately after, an illusion flashes before your eyes. The teacher on the podium is talking animatedly, while in the classroom, a giant fox is silently approaching a student. At the same time, 2 lines of cold text appear before you. Appraisal successful. Energy-infused desk. A top-performing student was once killed by a mutated beast without anyone noticing. This energy-infused desk faithfully recorded everything. Your heart skips a beat. You immediately look at yourself. You stare intently at yourself. A minute later, lines of text suddenly roll out before your eyes. Appraisal successful. Summoned beast. Zhang Ping. Master. Zhang Ping. Race. Human. Strength. 3 stars. Lifespan. 89. Talents. Contract gem. Consumes stamina and mental power to form a contract gem. Establishes a deep link with the target. The target receives a boost from your potential and luck. Repeated absorption slightly increases your own potential, with a 1% chance to awaken a new talent. Absolute command. You have absolute dominion over your summoned beast, yourself. Absolute obedience. You must absolutely obey your summoner's commands. Unstable appraisal. Can appraise a target with a very small chance of obtaining information. The smaller the power gap between both sides, the higher the success rate. It actually appraised me. You look at this bizarre status panel where you're both the summon and the master, not knowing whether to laugh or cry. Does this mean I am both my own spear and my own shield? But immediately after, a massive wave of ecstasy washes over you. So this ability isn't about useless gems, but rather, through these gems, you can awaken new talents. This truly means having infinite possibilities. Others only have one superpower, while you can continuously absorb energy to grind out a second and a third one. Now, you finally have a trump card to survive in this bizarre world. You must figure out whether this Pearl City is truly a human city or a hunting ground for disguised mutated beasts. You definitely don't want your own desk to become an energy-infused desk. At noon, you grab a quick bite to eat and leave the school. Using the excuse of visiting Su Jingyao, you actually head to the patrol squad headquarters to investigate and to see just how many monsters are hiding in this city. Walking onto the street, the world before your eyes is completely upended. In a cold weapon shop, a humanoid mutated beast is sitting with its legs crossed. Ye Chen Comics, it is gnawing on a strange piece of meat, emitting a golden glow, while reading a newspaper. In the eyes of others, he is just a middle-aged man munching on snacks. You keep your eyes straight ahead, silently chanting appraise in your mind. Appraisal successful. Mutated beast, Tianchang Fox. Talents, cognitive distortion, logic reversal. So that's how it is. They can distort people's cognition and subvert logic. No wonder no one notices them. You continue walking forward. Along the way, you see even more Tianchang foxes. They shop and chat just like normal people, even haggling over a few dollars. Arguing fiercely, they possess intelligence no less than that of humans. 2 hours later, you finally arrive at the patrol squad headquarters. It's heavily guarded here, and the atmosphere is solemn and deadly, seemingly completely out of place with the peaceful world outside. You take a deep breath and walk up to the reception desk. Looking at the smiling staff member in uniform behind it, you calmly speak. Hello, I'm looking for someone. Behind the counter, that Tianchang fox asks you in a hoarse voice. Hello. Who are you looking for? Your face shows not a trace of extra emotion. Su Jingyao. You give the name. The Tianchang fox nods and looks down to flip through the records. A moment later, it raises its head, looking at you with those inhuman eyes. Su Jingyao is still in the department. Should I call her over? Yes, please do. You nod, but your heart sinks. The exact moment you nod, your talent activates. Appraisal successful. Mutated beast, Tianchang fox. Talents, cognitive distortion. Logic reversal. Inexplicable trust. Your heart tightens in alarm. This guy is stronger than the one you met at school. Its talents are more bizarre and harder to deal with. You know very well. Ye Chen Comics why humanity in this world can only huddle inside cities. These monsters are inherently vastly stronger than you. Footsteps approach. You look up, forcing a smile onto your face. 2 Tianchang foxes walk over, and the mimicry disguise of one of them is shockingly in the exact appearance of Su Jingyao. That layer of disguise emits a faint glow, looking extremely unreal and unnerving. Zhang Ping, what are you looking for me for? The Tianchang fox wearing Su Jingyao's disguise speaks, its voice equally hoarse and inhuman. You force yourself to smile more naturally. I was just worried you wouldn't get used to the patrol squad. How does it feel? If you can't stand it, just come farm with me instead. Who wants to go farming with you? I can only get stronger by staying in the patrol squad. I want to protect this city. To get justice for my parents, yelled angrily, perfectly copying Su Jingyao's temper. You let out a long sigh, as if truly feeling pity for her. All right, seems like you're adapting well. Then I can rest easy. Are you really deciding to go farming? It asked again. You shrugged, looking helpless and resigned. Blame it on my useless awakened ability. I'm leaving. As for next time, who knows when that'll be. Goodbye. He gave a nod and turned to leave without the slightest hesitation. You calmly walked out of the patrol team's headquarters. You looked up at the piercing blue sky. After a long while, you finally acted like a disappointed fool, letting out a long, heavy breath. Immediately after, you turned and walked into the restaurant across the street. You picked a window seat with a perfect view of the patrol team's main gate and ordered the cheapest cup of tea. You just sat there like a statue. Anger didn't cloud your mind. The angrier you got, the calmer you became, cold as ice. Recklessness wouldn't solve anything. It would only make you lose faster. For an entire afternoon, you stared intently until dusk fell, and you got the answer you wanted. Did you finally get up and return to school? The entire patrol team. There wasn't a single living person inside. They were all monsters in disguise. This was the conclusion you reached after an afternoon of observation. No matter who it is, as long as they join the patrol team, it's like walking into a trap. The guardians of the city. have been completely hollowed out by monsters. Mingzhu City is simply an undefended giant hunting ground, and all of you are nothing but their captive prey. No wonder. Tiancheng foxes even appeared in the school. Because this city had fallen long ago, there are still 3 months until the graduation ceremony. But for you, the graduation ceremony has lost its meaning. You didn't leave the school, nor did you attend those meaningless classes anymore. Dormitory, playground, cafeteria. A repetitive 3-point routine. You trained your body like an ascetic monk. To outsiders, you just said it was to lay a good foundation for future farming. You weren't the only one doing this. Many students who awakened useless abilities and had no prospects chose to live peacefully within the school. However, you soon discovered a pattern. These seemingly ordinary students were actually the safest. The Tiancheng foxes hunting targets were very clear. Either those joining key departments like Su Jingyao or those with outstanding talents like Luo Shiyu. As for you, a summoner who couldn't obtain a summoned beast, widely recognized as someone with low potential, destined only to be a farmer. In their eyes, you posed no threat at all. This turned out to be your best camouflage. Every day, you could feel yourself getting stronger. Physical attributes, potential, were all improving at a visible rate. You treated the contract gem you condensed as daily nourishment. As soon as your stamina and mental strength recovered, you would immediately create another one. After a few days, although no new talent was awakened, the results were astonishing. Now, you could easily do 1,000 push-ups in a row. And after finishing, your stamina recovers incredibly fast. You no longer feel exhausted like before. That night, you sat cross-legged on your bed. He's doing a race bullshit. Without even looking, you absorbed its energy. Suddenly, the whole world fell silent. You felt as if you were pulled into a soundless void. A few seconds later, the chirps of crickets and frogs flooded back into your ears. You immediately cast appraisal on yourself. Appraisal successful. Summon beast. Jiang Ping. Potential. 4 stars. Talents. Contract gem. Absolute command. Absolute obedience. Unstable appraisal skill. Nightwalker. Gain night vision. Presence and body weight decrease at night. Movement speed increases. Completely invisible in the shadows. It worked. Your heart skipped a beat. There really was a new talent. You didn't even need to look at the status panel. Your body had already given the most direct feedback. You leaped down from the bed, feeling as light as a feather. With a gentle jump, your fingertips touched the ceiling. You landed without a sound, like a feline. The pitch-black city outside the window was as bright as day in your eyes. Just then, you even saw a giant bird of prey with a wingspan of over 12 meters, trailing billowing black smoke, silently gliding over the city. You gasped in shock. If that thing swooped down, the consequences would be unimaginable. This world is 10,000 times more dangerous than you imagined. You walked into the bathroom. The change from 3-star to 4-star potential brought much more than just a new talent. You did 2,500 push-ups in one breath and felt like you could do another 500. Naturally, this had to do with your lighter body weight, but the overall enhancement was real. Your 5 senses also became exceptionally sharp. You could even clearly hear teeth grinding in the dorm next door. Now, what level am I? You lay back on the bed and started assessing your own strength. In this world, the level division is simple and brutal. Levels 1 to 9 are beginner. Levels 10 to 20 are intermediate. Above that are advanced and supreme. As for the legendary king tier, Mingzhu City has never seen a trace of one. The next day, when you woke up, you found yourself automatically running on the playground. It's not even dawn yet, but you feel surprisingly energetic. With your potential upgraded, even your need for sleep is decreased. After your morning run, your body automatically leads you to the cafeteria. Everything is proceeding according to the commands you set last night, until that figure appears. Luo Shiyu. Good morning. Goddess, let me queue up for you. He says he is not in my state. You really don't want to, Command of the Eastern. What would you like to eat? A commotion ripples through the crowd. That massive mutant beast, wearing the disguise of Luo Shiyu, slowly walks in, surrounded by everyone. Even though your strength is improved, that chill from the depths of your soul still leaves you stiff all over. Suddenly, it stops. Right beside a girl whose face is flushed with excitement. It extends its sharp claws, gently resting them on the girl's shoulder, and leads her out of the line as if they were best friends. Then, acting as if nothing happened, it drags her toward the food counter, as if browsing a buffet to pick this morning's companion. You grip your chopsticks tightly, your knuckles turning white. With your head down, you force yourself to stuff all the food from your plate into your mouth. You must finish eating before its bizarre aura drifts over, and get the hell out of there. As you leave, many in the cafeteria are still envying the lucky girl, chosen by the goddess to share breakfast with her. In their eyes, it's the goddess's favor. But in your eyes, it's a silent hunt. That girl is being taken away by a hideous monster, her figure gradually disappearing into the crowd. You must figure this out. You must uncover the enemy's true background. You clench your fists, dash back to your dorm, and with a bang, you slam the door shut. Push-ups, 1,000 times. You command yourself. Sweat quickly soaks through your clothes, but you don't stop. Sit-ups, 500 times. Frog leaps, 300 times. Again, with bloodshot eyes, you roar at yourself in your mind. For the entire morning, you push yourself to the absolute limit with high-intensity training. At noon, after wolfing down your food and resting for 2 hours, you start practicing your boxing again. The teachings from your martial arts class flash through your mind. The Mingzhu 3 punches. Chasing rat, for fighting weaker opponents, using momentum to suppress them. Sprinting wolf, for fighting equals, aiming for a one-hit kill. Trapping ox, for wearing down stronger foes, relying on evasive footwork and deflecting force. Although there are only 3 moves, they embody the combat experience paid for with the lives of countless predecessors. You might not be a physical enhancement type awakened, but you have the contract gem. Your potential is limitless. At 9 p.m., you change into an all-black outfit and slip out of the dorm like a ghost. There are still underclassmen sparring on the field, but you ignore them. You just cast a distant glance towards the girls' dormitory. The fists in your pockets clench tightly once again. Don't rush. Jiang Ping, you tell yourself. You are still too weak. Leaving the school grounds, you completely blend into the darkness. The Nightwalker talent makes you seem almost non-existent in this world. Pedestrians walk right past you, completely oblivious to your presence. You begin navigating through the streets around the school. Like a true hunter, you silently record information about your prey. You recall the knowledge taught in class. A mutant beast's eyes will glow in the dark. A low-level one emits a white light. Although you lack practical experience, making a rough judgment is not an issue. You've discovered that the strength of these Tiansheng foxes generally ranges from mid to high level, roughly between levels 19 and 25. However, over the past few days, a massive doubt has been growing in your mind. Another low-level one. Crouching in a dark corner, you watch a Tiansheng fox nearby, its eyes glowing with a bright white light. It is casually swaggering down the street. This makes absolutely no sense. A low-level mutant beast, no matter how bizarre its abilities, couldn't possibly hide its presence from mid or even high-level awakened. Level suppression is absolute. It's like how a primary school student could never overpower a grown adult. But the reality is, these low-level monsters are also running rampant through the city, committing atrocities right on the streets. Meanwhile, the powerful awakened nearby act as if they are completely blind, completely oblivious to it all. There must be a crucial piece of intelligence you're missing. You cast one last glance at the low-level Tiansheng fox before turning and vanishing into the deeper darkness. You already have a rough map formulated in your mind. Centered around the school, across the 16 surrounding streets, there are at least 50 Tiansheng foxes lurking. The strongest one outside the school is probably level 25 or higher. As for the one disguised as a teacher inside the school, it's likely approaching level 30. You don't even dare use your appraisal skill on that monster. Your intuition, a beast-like instinct, warns you that if you so much as try to peek at its stats, in the very next second, you would be dead. This isn't paranoia. You are 100% certain that the monster wearing Luo Shiyu's skin is at an absurdly high level. It might even be an apex tier mutant beast. I have enough intel. Back on the cold floor of your dorm, you resume doing push-ups. Sweat drips down, but your mind is racing. I stand 0 chance on my own. But the abilities of these monsters are too bizarre. Even the low-level ones can fool high-level awakened. Empty words won't prove a thing. Who would believe me? The only way is to secure a corpse as evidence. Only with hard evidence will I have a chance of mobilizing the real heavyweights. However, hunting a Tiansheng fox is like kicking a hornet's nest. You have absolutely no guarantee that after taking one down, you'd make it back alive. At the end of the day, it's because you're still too weak. Sit-ups, another 500 times. Gritting your teeth, you issue a forced command to yourself. These days, you absorb the energy of 2 contract gems every day. Your potential is rising. Your body is growing stronger. But a new talent has yet to appear. The only thing keeping you from falling into despair is this real sense of daily progress. The next day, you open your eyes. You wake up even earlier. 4 a.m., the sky is still pitch black. The only sound on the track field is your heavy breathing from running. The wind is cold. For a moment, you even feel like you've returned to the campus of your past life. If it weren't for these monsters, whenever you think of those students who were devoured, your fists unconsciously clench. Suddenly, you feel like you stepped on something hard. You stop in your tracks and look back. Something on the ground is reflecting light. Abort morning run. Act freely. You immediately command yourself. You walk back and pick it up. It's a dark black ring. The craftsmanship is extremely fine, and its patterns are eerie yet beautiful. Definitely not some cheap street stall junk. Appraisal failed. Again, appraisal failed. You are startled. For ordinary items, the appraisal skill succeeds almost instantly. But this thing, it actually failed consecutively. You get stubborn, frantically casting appraisal on it. After failing over a dozen times, the information finally surfaces. Appraisal successful. Assassination ring. Once equipped, all lifeforms will subconsciously ignore the wearer. Advanced awakened and above are immune. The moment the appraisal succeeds, a scene violently rushes into your mind. A white-bearded old man presses the ring with one hand and holds down a tied-up man with the other. A golden light flashes. The man wails silently as streaks of golden light are extracted from his body and poured into the ring. The scene shifts. On the track field, a white-clothed man wearing a black mask is engaging Luo Shiyu in combat, but he is completely no match for her. He is quickly defeated, and his energy core is instantly destroyed. The vision abruptly ends here. So that's how it is. You instantly realize what happened and break out in a cold sweat. This is very likely a bait left by the Tiansheng fox. You abruptly look up at the girl's dorm. Complete silence. You force yourself to stay calm. Gritting your teeth, you quietly slip the ring onto your finger. Throwing it away now would be even more suspicious. While it's still dark out and the Nightwalker effect is active, you must get back to your dorm immediately. You turn around, instantly vanishing into the night. In a corner outside the track field, a yawning Tiansheng fox suddenly feels something is off. It looks closely and rubs its eyes. The ring is gone. Crap. It immediately jumps into the field, lying on the ground and frantically sniffing for scents. But amidst the mixed scents, it subconsciously ignores yours. After searching around, it finds nothing. No one has been here? How is that possible? The Tiansheng fox is dumbfounded. It was acting on Luo Shiyu's orders, keeping watch all night. How could the ring just vanish into thin air? No, someone must have been here. To be able to hide from me, they must be at least intermediate level. It narrows its slender fox eyes, turns around, and runs toward the girl's dorm. Meanwhile, on the balcony of the boys' dorm, you watch the fox leave before slowly letting out a sigh of relief. You bet right. At 4 a.m., before daybreak, your presence is already low by default. After putting on the ring, it was weakened to the absolute limit. That guy didn't notice you at all. However, this ring absolutely cannot be worn during the day. A monster of Luo Shiyu's caliber would definitely see through it. So I'm not the only one who noticed. You return to your room, rubbing the ring on your finger. That white-clothed man was clearly hunting these monsters too. Why did he specifically target Luo Shiyu for his attack? Could she hold a special status among the foxes? There's still too little intel. You can't figure it out. So you just flop onto the bed and stop overthinking it. However, this ring did give you a reminder. Strength doesn't just come from training yourself. In this world, there are also all sorts of magical equipment. Tonight, I need to look into the prices of equipment. You set your goal and glance at the alarm clock. 5 a.m. Can still sleep for an hour. You command yourself, instantly falling fast asleep. Suddenly, in a hazy state, you see Su Jingyao. Her silhouette is blurry, but her almond eyes are as clear as water, looking at you anxiously. Jiang Ping, you're in danger. Wake up. A dream? No. Wake up! You snap your eyes open. The next second, without any hesitation, you take off the ring, stuff it into your mouth, and swallow it with a gulp. Then you close your eyes and continue sleeping. A few minutes later, your dorm room door is pushed open silently. Luo Shiyu walks in. It paces around your room, as if patrolling its own territory. Finally, it stops in front of your bed and lowers its head. Its mimic disguise is almost touching your face. As the wind from the balcony blows in, the edges of its disguise sway gently. Behind it, those slender fox eyes are quietly scrutinizing you. Its sharp claws slowly extend, stopping less than a centimeter from your temple. You can even smell the stale smell of residual energy on its claws. A moment later, it retracts its claws and turns to leave. Outside the door, another Tianchang fox asks in a low voice, "Your Highness, why didn't you finish him off?" Luo Shiyu shot at a cold glance. It's not him. And, don't waste food. Yes. The Tianchang fox was so terrified it shut its mouth instantly. Luo Shiyu turned back, taking one last look at the fast asleep. You, before vanishing down the corridor with her subordinates. Half an hour later, you suddenly opened your eyes, your heart still pounding wildly. That was way too dangerous. I can't let my guard down at all. You glanced out the window, and only after confirming they had left did you finally sigh in relief. You had ordered your body to sleep just now, but your brain remained wide awake. The moment it entered, you figured it out. Your absence from the playground at 5 a.m. was an abnormal behavior. That aroused suspicion. That monster, whether in strength or speed, you couldn't even take a single hit from it. You could only gamble. Gamble that it didn't know you took the ring. Gamble that it couldn't see your flaws. Gamble that, for someone like you, a person with low potential, it has no appetite. You won the gamble again. Training is too slow. I must get some gear. You sat on the edge of the bed, shivering with lingering fear. That feeling just now, of being the meat on the chopping block, you never want to experience it for another second. In order not to appear abnormal, you bit the bullet and went to the cafeteria. However, as soon as you entered, you heard everyone discussing one thing. Black Death Star has fallen. Black Death Star, Mingzhou City's most notorious lone wolf. Legend has it that if the price is right, he'd even assassinate the city lord. While eating your breakfast, you pricked up your ears to listen. His remains were found in a stinking ditch near the school this morning, gnawed beyond recognition by wild beasts. His white clothes were covered in golden marks, and the black mask on his face was shattered to pieces. Your heart skipped a beat. White clothes, black mask. Could it be the man you saw in the ring's illusion? Which means the person you thought was an ally last night was actually a mercenary getting paid to do a job. Wait, Luo Shiyu is an orphan just like you. Who would pay a fortune to hire Black Death Star against her? Unless someone else also discovered these monsters in disguise and opted for a simple, brutal method, directly spending money to hire someone to kill the beast. Your expression turned peculiar. That's actually a good idea. No evidence needed. No need to convince anyone. As long as there's money, lone wolves don't care if the target is human or beast. What a pity, he failed, and even alerted the enemy. After finishing breakfast, you returned to the dorm. No matter what, train first. You manifested a contract gem and absorbed its energy. Suddenly, a wondrous sensation of sublimation erupted from within. You froze for a moment. Could it be a new talent? You immediately cast an appraisal on yourself. Appraisal successful. Summon beast. Jiang Ping. Potential, 4 stars. Rank, Junior Awakened. Level, 2. Talent. Stable appraisal skill. Can appraise a target. So it was a level up. Joy swelled in your heart. The appraisal skill went from unstable to stable version. And now it even shows levels, which means I can now see through those monsters' levels even during the day. This upgrade is absolutely crucial. Today is a good day. Let's celebrate with 2,000 push-ups first. You smiled and began to warm up. After leveling up, your stamina and mental energy increased by about 5%, although it isn't much. Every little bit counts. As night fell, you put on the assassination ring and left the school. With Nightwalker combined with the assassination ring, you are now an absolute ghost. You stopped at a street corner and used appraisal on a Tianchang fox inside a shop. Appraisal successful. Mutated beast. Tianchang fox. Rank, Intermediate mutated beast. Level 15. It worked. Feeling more confident, you started wandering around the area, memorizing the level data of each Tiancheng fox you saw. Half an hour later, you arrived at a weapon shop named Soul of Iron. You had your eyes on this place for a while, because the owner is human, and most of the customers are adventurers, a group of marginalized people, who are mostly orphans like you. Going in there wouldn't raise any suspicion. You observed for a moment, and taking advantage of the empty shop, you walked in. A wave of heat hit your face inside the shop. At the very back was a massive furnace. A scrawny old man leaned against the wall, puffing away on a long-stemmed pipe. He didn't even bat an eyelid. You ignored him as well, and started looking at the weapons on the display stands on your own. 9-ring Ghost Axe Blade. Price tag, 500,000. Ghost Scythe. Price tag, 600,000. Suddenly, your eyes lit up. A slender, snow-white weapon shaped like an extended Juchun blade lay there quietly. Cold Maiden's Light Blade. Length, 1.88 meters. Weight, 40 kilograms. Forged from the essence of a frost leopard. Attacks carry an innate chill. Good blade, you thought, your blood pumping as you looked at the price tag. Then, as if your heart had been slashed by this very blade, it turned completely cold. 0.000,000 Mingju coins. You did the math. An ordinary farmer would have to work for 666 years without eating or drinking to afford it. Your heart sank. You knew these things were expensive, but you didn't expect them to be this expensive. Old Grandpa, you had walked around, finding that the cheapest items cost tens of thousands, so you had to bite the bullet and walk up to the old man. Do you have anything cheaper? The old man took a slow drag from his pipe. A full minute and a half passed before he lifted his cloudy eyelids to look at you, asking sluggishly, "What did you say?" You had no choice but to ask again. "Old Grandpa, I was asking, do you have any cheaper weapons?" The old man stared at you for a long time, as if his brain was lagging by half a century, before finally giving an irrelevant answer. "My son is waiting for me for dinner." You were completely speechless. Just then, a burly middle-aged man rushed in frantically. Wearing a tattered camo suit, he had a V-shaped torso, and arms thicker than your thighs. He carried a pitch-black greatsword on his back. One look and you could tell he was a seasoned veteran. "Sorry, kid, the shop is temporarily closed." He put down his weapon and walked over to tell you. When the old man saw him, he immediately got upset. "Cho Kyung, where did you take Dashan wandering off to this time?" "Dashan? Uncle Lu, why did you open the shop again?" The man named Cho Kyung looked bitter. "Didn't I tell you to wait for me at home? I'll find Dashan very soon." The old man grabbed his pipe and whacked him on the head, scolding in exasperation. "All you do is fool around all day. Hurry up and call Dashan home for dinner." All right, I'll call him home later." Chao Chiang nodded repeatedly. "Let's close up and go upstairs." The old man whacked him with the pipe again. "I'm staying right here. What if my regulars come by?" Fine. We'll stay here. We're not going anywhere." Chu Chiang could only compromise with a bitter smile. Suddenly, he noticed you trying to slip away. His eyes lit up. "Student? Want to be an adventurer? Kid, wait up." He called out to you. You turned around. "What's up? Let's chat." Chu Chiang squeezed out an ingratiating smile. You hesitated for a moment, but nodded anyway. The two of you walked outside. Chao Chang habitually offered you a cigarette. You waved it off. "Kid, graduating soon?" He tucked the cigarette behind his ear and got straight to the point. "Soon," you nodded. "What do you think? About the blacksmith trade?" he asked cautiously. You immediately understood what he meant. Glancing at the slightly senile old man inside, you played along. Better than being a farmer. He looked as if he had found a kindred spirit. In this world, farmers didn't just plant crops. They repaired roads, patched city walls, and handled all the city's garbage and waste. Aside from combat, they did every dirty and exhausting job. "Bro, but what do you think?" You pointed toward the shop. Seeing you catch on so quickly, Cho Kyang laid his cards on the table. "To be honest, that's my uncle. Blood related. His son, my cousin Dashan, went missing recently. Uncle Lu is getting a bit senile now. I need someone to look after him and keep an eye on the shop. Of course, I'll drop by when I can to teach you a few tricks. I guarantee you'll be a pro in no time. What do you say?" Think about it. Your mind raced. Room and board included. And not just that, I'll also pay you $100 a month. Let me think about it. I'll give you an answer tomorrow. You were quite tempted, but you had your concerns. That missing Dashan was probably eaten by a Tiancheng fox. Although the dorms were dangerous now, at least, Luo Shiyu only targeted girls. Boys were relatively safe. However, the room inspection this morning had dropped your sense of security in the dorms to zero. "Sure, take your time to think," Cho Chiang said, suddenly shoving a dagger into your hand. "Take this as a token of friendship. The city isn't safe lately, so be careful." With that, he turned and went back inside the shop. You pondered as you walked away, subconsciously unsheathing the dagger. As it left the sheath, a cold gleam flashed. Your pupils constricted. The material of this dagger, it was exactly the same as that $2 million Cold Maiden, an exact match. The blade was snow white and translucent, radiating a piercing chill. Good lord, this was a heavy gift indeed. You made your decision instantly. Betting your life on a monster's dietary preferences was stupid. What if one day, Luo Shiyu wanted a change of pace? It was settled. You'd accept his offer tomorrow. You couldn't stop playing with the dagger. You even gave it a name, Beauty's Tear. As you walked back, you mentally simulated fighting with the dagger. While passing by a park, you suddenly stopped in your tracks. On the swing sat a 1-meter-tall Tiancheng fox cub. Appraisal successful. Mutated beast. Tiancheng fox. Level 3. Weak. Your heart began to race uncontrollably. Evidence. This was the perfect evidence. If you killed it and brought its remains to the investigation team, you might be able to uncover everything. Mingju City might still be saved. Let's do it. You couldn't bear seeing your classmates treated as prey every day anymore. And you definitely couldn't bear walking down the street pretending not to see those murderous monsters. You turned around and gripped the hilt of Beauty's tear with your right hand. Armed with a sharp weapon, killing intent naturally arises. If it weren't for this dagger, you definitely wouldn't have the guts to do this. However, the moment you stepped into the park, a hand pressed down on your shoulder. Don't move, a woman's voice whispered in your ear. A bone-piercing chill radiated from behind you. Ice. It was an ice element awakened. Your restless heart instantly calmed down. It wasn't the Tianchang fox, and there was no killing intent. Don't turn around. Don't speak. Take this. Leave. After the woman said that, she slipped a piece of paper into your hand. A second later, the chill behind you vanished. You didn't look back, pretended to look for something on the ground, and left the park without turning your head. To be able to spot you under the dual effects of the Nightwalker and assassination ring, this woman's level must absolutely be much higher than yours. Could she be the one who hired someone to deal with the mutated beasts? You wondered to yourself. Returning to the dorm, you didn't read the note immediately, but lay down to rest right away. The next day, at 4 a.m., you opened your eyes on time, walked into the bathroom, and sat on the toilet before slowly unfolding that note. There were only 3 words on it. 23. Martial drill. South Moon. You frowned. The 23rd is in 4 days. This is an invitation to meet. But Martial Drill and South Moon, what the hell kind of places are those? Your head ached. This code was obviously meant to guard against the Tianchang fox. In the afternoon, while filling out the graduation application, a flash of inspiration suddenly hit you. What if you read it backwards? South Moon, practice martial arts. Your body trembled, instantly understanding it. It wasn't a profound puzzle, but definitely not many people knew about it. The other party knows very well about you, or rather, they know the original owner of this body. Near the orphanage, there used to be a beef brisket ramen shop. The character for brisket on the sign cracked, making it look like Moon South, and the small part behind that ramen shop was exactly where you secretly practiced martial arts as a kid. That shop closed down 4 years ago. The people who know this secret number no more than 5. You tore up the note and flushed it down the toilet, picked up the filled graduation application, and strode out. The application went unusually smoothly. A seemingly ordinary student wouldn't catch anyone's attention. At dusk, you packed all your luggage and headed straight to Soul of Iron. When Cho Chang saw you dragging a suitcase, his face instantly bloomed with joy. Little brother, you're just in time. I have a mission tomorrow, and we'll be back in about 5 days. I was just worrying about nobody taking care of Uncle Lu. He enthusiastically pulled you up to the 3rd floor. You picked a room to settle in, only to learn his real name was actually Qiu Chang, and Uncle Lu's full name is Lu Tifeng, who is 79 this year. That night, Qiu Chang decided to teach you some basic skills first. Little Zhang, watch closely. He put on fireproof gloves and stood in front of the furnace. You concentrated and stared intently at his movements. Ye Chen Comics, you saw him pick up a few iron ingots and some crimson snake scales, throwing them into a wooden tray. One piece of refined iron costs about 6,000 bucks. Expensive. Every piece might be stained with the sweat of miners and adventurers. You remained silent. These crimson snake scales can fuse with refined iron under high temperatures. It's to give the weapon a self-repair function, but it must be shaped in one go. Otherwise, it's ruined. Saying that, he threw the entire wooden tray into the furnace, and then reached his hands directly into the fire, stirring rapidly like kneading dough. Flames licked his arms, yet he didn't even twitch an eyebrow. Watch closely. This is the most crucial step. He shouted loudly, pulling out a crimson dough from the fire. He quickly placed it into a rectangular mold, then grabbed a giant hammer and crazily struck the protrusions on the mold. Help me bring that red oil over, he roared, panting. You exerted a Herculean effort just to carry that 1-meter-tall oil barrel over. Not bad. You've got some strength. Qiu Chang smiled, unscrewed the cap, and poured some fire oil onto the mold. Hiss, boom. With a loud bang, steam surged out. He pulled the mold open. Ye Chen Comics and a pitch-black combat blade with red veins appeared before you. He picked up the blade and slashed fiercely at the testing stone. A flash of the blade, and the hard testing stone was sliced cleanly in half. This is Mingju City's most common standard weapon, the Mingju blade. You were completely stunned. However, you quickly snapped back to reality. A Mingju city possessing such technology was still riddled with holes from the Tianchang fox's infiltration. Can this kind of blade hurt mid-level mutated beasts? You asked. Qiu Chang laughed. It's fine against low-level ones. Mid-level? Depends on your luck. All right, you give it a try. He handed you the fireproof gloves. You took a deep breath, put on the gloves, and stepped forward. Mimicking his actions, you put the materials into the furnace. Instantly, a terrifying heat wave hit your face, and your eyebrows curled up on the spot. Don't step back. Feel the changes in the materials. Qiu Chang shouted behind you. You gritted your teeth, reached both hands into the flames, and grabbed the scorching hot materials. Knead! Make them even. Only then did you realize this thing was 10,000 times harder than kneading dough. You used all your strength, kneading it desperately, and sweat instantly soaked your back. Faster, or the materials will burn away. You felt the dough in your hands finally fuse into one piece. Taking it out immediately, you stuffed it into the mold, and then went to grab that large iron hammer. You then realized this hammer was ridiculously heavy. You could barely lift it with both hands. You hammered for dear life until the protrusions on the mold were smashed flat. Then you picked up the fire oil and poured it over. Boom! Steam exploded. You let go, unable to hold on any longer, and plopped down on the ground, completely exhausted. Have some water. Uncle Chiang handed you the water. You took the cup and drank it all in one gulp. He looked at you with a hint of unprecedented appreciation in his eyes. Not bad. I thought you wouldn't hold up. It seems those teachers at school are completely blind. With your tenacity, getting into the top 3 academies would be a breeze. You wiped your mouth and threw out the question you've been holding in for days. Uncle Chiang, everyone always talks about the patrol team and the investigation team. What exactly is the third organization among the big 3? Uncle Chiang just threw his hands up, looking like it was the most obvious thing in the world. I don't know. Pearl City has always called it that since the old days. Everyone knows there's a third organization, but what it's called, where it is, or what it does, nobody knows. You froze. Good grief. The whole city is playing hide and seek. You originally thought the original owner of this body was just ignorant, but it turns out no one has ever seen it. Alright, who cares what it's called? It's probably just some secret assassination department. Uncle Chiang patted the mold. Rested enough? If you are, let's take a look at your first piece. You stood up, palms sweating. Uncle Chiang motioned for you to do it yourself. You grabbed the switch and pulled it hard. Suddenly, a bizarre silver light seeped out from the mold. You frowned and looked at Uncle Chiang. It had indeed failed. Uncle Chiang curled his lip and lifted the blade up. The blade was covered in messy silver threads. Compared to the beautiful red patterns of a pearl blade, it was as ugly as a defective reject. And rolls off and says he didn't trust, swapped in a new stone, and swung the blade down. A flash of the blade, and the stone was perfectly fine. But the blade, snap! It broke into 2 pieces. The tip of the blade flew off, and stuck firmly onto a large magnet nearby. Clean this up. Uncle Chiang threw the broken blade to you, his tone giving away neither joy nor anger. You stared at the broken edge, concluding, the furnace was too hot, roasting you like a suckling pig, causing your strength to fail completely in the second half. The kneading was an absolute mess. Right after, Uncle Chiang sat down and meticulously broke down the mistakes in every movement you just made. You nodded constantly as you listened. This was 10,000 times better than those empty theoretical classes at school. You suddenly thought of a painful question. Uncle Chiang, for that batch just now, how much money did I lose? Uncle Chiang sighed. About 60,000, I guess. Your heart skipped a beat, and your face instantly went pale. 60,000? Selling yourself wouldn't even be enough to pay it back. Ha 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 ha. Look how scared you are. Uncle Chiang burst into laughter, slapping his thigh. I'm just messing with you. Later, when we have more scrap, I'll teach you how to recycle it. If you could actually succeed on your first try, Dashin would have to call you senior brother. Before he could finish laughing, Grandpa Lu's smoking pipe accurately whacked him on the forehead. Uncle Chiang yelped, shrinking his neck in pain. Smug Kiang, this kid's talent is even greater than Dashan's. Where did you kidnap him from? Grandpa Lu's eyes were clear for a moment, before plunging back into confusion. Where's Dashin? Where did Dashin go? Uncle Chiang sighed, patted your shoulder, and said with a heavy tone, take good care of Uncle Lu. I've got things to do. I'm leaving. You nodded in agreement. Even though Uncle Chiang was a chatterbox, he still nagged you for over 10 minutes before he finally brought himself to leave. Only the sound of the burning furnace remained in the shop. You poured a glass of water and walked over to Grandpa Lu. Have some water. The old man ignored you, keeping his head down and smoking. A moment later, Grandpa Lu suddenly looked up, his eyes as sharp as an unsheathed blade. All right, put the glass down. That guy is far away now. You jumped in surprise. I'm not sick. Grandpa Lu snorted coldly, his tone calm. Something happened to Dashin. I know that well enough. Chiangzi wants to investigate, but I'm afraid he'll get dragged into it too. I can only play the fool to hold him back. As long as that guy has something tying him down here, he'll act like a turtle, and won't throw his life away so easily. You were shocked. What an act of playing mad and dumb. Is this the trick of an old veteran? Grandpa Lu, aren't you afraid I'll tell Uncle Chiang? Will you? The old man asked back, a smile in his eyes. You shook your head helplessly. I won't. That settles it then. The old man blew a smoke ring. Chiang's teaching is terrible. For the next few days, I will teach you the true Lu's kneading technique, the Lu family's craft. Cannot die out with my generation. At 4 in the morning the next day, you opened your eyes on time. Grandpa Lu was even earlier, already waiting for you in the 3rd floor workshop. Come here, knead the dough. The old man tossed you a basin of real flour. It was mixed with hundreds of iron beads of various sizes. Put on a blindfold, and knead all the beads out. When you can tell a lump of flour from an iron bead by touch alone, that's when you'll have mastered the basics. Without a word, you blindfolded yourself and got to work. The flour was very dense, and mixed with the iron beads, kneading it was extremely harsh on your hands. You calmed your mind, focusing all your attention on your fingertips. For the entire morning, you stubbornly wrestled with the dough. By the afternoon, the old man started drilling you on various materials. Crimson snake scales, release heat at high temperatures, and can heal themselves. To deal with it, you must first strike its weak point. These insights were all practical knowledge bought with blood and lives. You learned at lightning speed, working even harder than you did for your college entrance exams in your past life. In the blink of an eye, it was late night on the 22nd. Tomorrow was the agreed upon date, the 23rd. You planned to first go to UNN, park to scout the area. You put on your assassin ring and slipped out the window like an invisible man. The Tiancheng fox monitoring you at the door was staring blankly at the sign, completely unaware that you had slipped right under its nose. 10 minutes later, You sneaked into the park. The tree shadows danced in this place. Chen Comics, the once empty park now emanated an eerie, chilling vibe. Suddenly, you felt a pair of eyes staring at you from behind. You spun around, your hand already resting on the hilt of Beauty's Tear. In the bushes, Chen Comics, a rat the size of an adult cat, covered entirely in stiff bristles, slowly crept out. He's always coming back and he said you would not be. He said something tells him. Mutated beast. Armored poison tail rat. Level 5. Talents. Highly toxic tail. Hardened fur. Your heart sinks. A level 2 fighting a level 5. This rat's tail is also highly toxic. Just one prick, and you're completely done for here. Even so, you didn't back down. What if this thing hurts the orphanage kids tomorrow? With a lethal weapon in hand, the intent to kill naturally arises. You push off the ground with immense force, charging forward like a cheetah. The rat is extremely cunning. Seeing you aim for its eyes, it immediately curls into a ball. It uses momentum to spin frantically and deflect the force. Your dagger scrapes across its back bristles, actually emitting the sound of metal friction. Missing the first strike, you instantly retreat. The beast suddenly springs away. Chen Comics, its toxic tail stabbing wildly at your knees like a steel whip. You keep retreating on your tiptoes. Cold sweat drips down your forehead. This is 10,000 times more exhausting than running on the school track. You suddenly stop, change your dagger grip, and drop into a heavy horse stance. Ming fist, rat-chasing stance. You accelerate once more. The rat's tail slithers like an S-shaped viper toward your wrist. Now's the time. You let out a roar and sharply lower your center of gravity. This move bypasses its defense. You throw a lightning-fast punch with your left hand, hitting the rat right on the forehead. This freakish strength blacks out its vision. Immediately after, Beauty's Tear turns into a flash of snow-white light, plunging straight into its eye socket. The dagger pierces right through its vital spot. In its dying moments, the rat still tries to sting you with its tail. You dodge sideways and leap back, watching its corpse twitch twice on the ground, before going completely still. Phew! You pant heavily, looking at the golden liquid spilled all over the ground. Luckily, it's nighttime. Your Nightwalker speed bonus saved your life. A few minutes later, just after you left, 2 women appeared next to the carcass. One was wearing a light green military uniform, the other wearing a frost mask. Sister Cece, do you think this guy is a human or a fox? The woman in uniform picked up the rat's carcass. The woman in white wearing the mask looked in the direction you left. Her voice cold and clear. Let's hope he's human. If we're not sure, we'll just shoot him on sight. But he didn't eat this rat just now. The woman in uniform sighed. Maybe he really is human. Let's go. We shouldn't stay here long. After the woman in white spoke, the two packed up the rat's carcass and quickly vanished into the night. The next day, before dawn, you decide to try again. Dough-kneading forging technique. Crunching down on a contract gem, you toss the materials into the furnace. This time, you are mentally prepared. You stubbornly withstand the scorching heat wave, gritting your teeth as you start kneading. Suddenly, a sharp pain hits your stomach. You can't help but gasp in a breath of cold air. Who would have thought that with this breath, the flames in the furnace would act like a fire snake? Whoosh, getting sucked right up your nose. A warm current flows down your throat into your stomach. You instantly feel refreshed, and your hand movements become much smoother. New talent? Your heart skips a beat, but your hands don't stop working. Grandpa Lou beside you glances at you, but says nothing. A moment later, the old man suddenly speaks. The furnace temperature is too low. Add firewood. Only then do you realize it, and quickly free a hand to add wood. After a flurry of frantic activity, you finally manage to stuff the material into the mold. You plop down on the ground, and immediately check your stat panel. Talent, Fire Eater, can restore stamina by consuming flames, and convert excess flames into fire elemental energy stored in the body. This ability will gradually increase the user's high temperature resistance. The first thing you notice is that your potential has dropped from 4 stars to 3 stars. The remark in the notes makes you realize instantly, potential is simply the untapped treasure within your body, and you can mine it infinitely using contract gems. This path has no end, but right now, you are still just a beginner awakened. Any random intermediate awakened could absolutely wipe the floor with you. Unsurprisingly, the second forging fails again. You simply sit by the furnace, like you're at a buffet, continuously inhaling the flames into your stomach. Whenever the fire weakens, you add firewood and then inhale again. Half an hour later, you feel full. A warm energy flows through your body. With a single thought, that energy, like an obedient puppy, instantly concentrates in your fist. This feeling is incredible. Chen Comics, this is truly your first actively controllable superpower. Chen Comics, by evening, you can already make a small cluster of flames dance around your fingertips. Besides looking cool, this ability also resists the cold. This gives you a lot more confidence for the upcoming meeting. After dinner, you have another meal. After ensuring Grandpa Lou is asleep, you put on your ring and slip into the night. The park is dead silent. You find a corner to hide in, waiting, while continuing to familiarize yourself with the fire element in your body. Suddenly, a black circle appears beneath your feet. Before you can even react, you fall right into it. A sudden sense of weightlessness hits you. All around you is pitch black. You struggle desperately, even burning right through the soles of your shoes, but you still can't stop your fall. 30 seconds later, you land with a heavy thud. Your entire body is tightly bound by a thick, black, viscous liquid, leaving only your head exposed. You have 5 minutes. To prove you are human, a cold voice rings out. You look up. It's the woman in white wearing an ice mask. The ice sword in her hand is already pressed against your neck. Prove I'm human? Your mind races. Don't tell me you guys have no way to find the monsters hidden in the city? The woman says nothing, but her silence gives you the answer. They know there are monsters, but they don't know who they are, or how many. In their eyes, every single person could be a demon in disguise. Damn it. How am I supposed to prove this? It's not like I'm the Monkey King, who can just reveal his true form. Give me a hint, you ask tentatively. The woman remains completely silent. You're out of options, so you frantically spam your appraisal skill on her. Appraisal failed. Appraisal failed. X20. You start to wonder if your ability is broken. Finally, after 2 long minutes, information pops up. Appraisal successful. Name: Lu Sishan. Race: human. Rank: Advanced Awakener. So strong, you gasp in shock. Not only is she an Advanced Awakener, but her potential is actually 5 stars. But there's no time to marvel right now. You quickly search through the original owner's memories. Lu Sishan. This name, nothing. 1 minute left. Lu Sishan's voice sounds like the Grim Reaper's countdown. You panic, blurting out the names of every girl the original owner knew as a child. Are you Lu Sisi? Lu Xiao Xiao? Lu Ping Ping? That doesn't prove you are human. Lu Sishan interrupts you coldly. Fair point. If the Tianchang foxes really wanted to dig up this kind of background information, they easily could. You stare at her. As a spark of inspiration hits you, you decide to make a gamble. Lu Sishan, it's only 1 character off. You stare directly into her eyes and say word by word, Sisi, do you remember? When we were kids, you fell into the river, and I was the one who pulled you out. Because of that, the orphanage director made me stand in the corner for 3 days. I even kept that stone you gave me back then, but she shows absolutely no reaction. Your mind races into overdrive, racking your brain to recall everything about the girl named Lu Sisi. Suddenly, you remember something incredibly stupid that only the 2 of you knew about. You lift your head. Even though it feels deeply humiliating, you decide to just go for it. First form, ha. Second form, hey-ya. Third form, ha hey-ya. Heaven-shattering, earth-splitting, invincible Sisi punch. Instantly, the air freezes. Beneath that icy mask, you can see a storm of emotions surging in her eyes. She gently waves her hand, and the ice sword at your neck melts into a puddle of water, vanishing without a trace. You really are Sister Sisi? You ask tentatively. She doesn't take off her mask, but her voice is noticeably softer. Second question. Your ability is the useless gem. So why recently has your behavior been so abnormal? I absorbed the gem's energy. You reply half-truthfully. She's visibly stunned. You absorbed it yourself? Yes. After absorbing it, my mind became totally clear, and then I discovered that 2 monsters are hiding in the school. 2. Lu Sisi's tone instantly turns serious. Are you saying you can accurately identify all the monsters in the city? You turn the question back on her. Do you guys really not know what the monsters in the city actually are? She falls silent. You immediately understand. They are completely blind to the truth. You decide to add some fuel to the fire. The monsters hiding in the city are all Tianchang foxes. Their abilities are cognitive distortion and reality subversion. There are 2 in the school, radiating out from the school. There are over 30 of them on every single street. The city patrol has already been completely wiped out. Not a single human is left alive. You can clearly sense that. The face beneath the mask instantly turns incredibly grim. I've memorized the identities of some of the Tianchang foxes. You can go verify them. You look right at her and play your final hand. Lei Street, Wansheng Breakfast Shop. The landlady is a fox. Jiwan Furniture. The boss is a fox. Longzhou Street, Dragon Spear Armory. All 3 blacksmiths are foxes. Go check it out. We'll talk again once you've verified it. You pause for a moment, then deliver one last blow. Also, within your own organization, you better check for moles too. Lu Sisi remains silent for a moment, before finally making up her mind. Stay right here and don't move. I'll be back soon. Do I look like I can move to you? You shrug. Meanwhile, inside a secret room, a silver-haired old man, facing a glowing emblem, finishes listening to Lu Sisi's report. Tianchang foxes. He looks around the room. Has anyone heard of them? A middle-aged man answers immediately. The offspring of the heart-devouring Mirage Fox and the parasitic Ruin Fox? It's highly possible. A heavily muscled man stands up, radiating an aura of absolute brutality. Captain, I'll go verify it. The old man ponders for a moment, before slamming his hand on the table. Good. Jin Bo, you lead the team. If the intel is true, bring their corpses back to me. Understood. Lei Street, Wansheng Breakfast Shop. 2nd floor bedroom. A 2-meter-tall fox is fast asleep. Suddenly, it snaps its eyes open. But it's too late. An iron fist appears out of nowhere, without any warning, and directly strikes its energy core. No sound. No energy residue. The fat guy next to it doesn't even pause his snoring. Jinbo lifts the fox's remains, and coldly spits out a single word. Go. At almost the exact same time, in the school dormitory, Luo Shiyu snaps her eyes open. In an instant, she appears 100 meters in the air. Yuju has fallen. Her voice is ice cold. Immediately after, she senses another fading aura. Another one has fallen. Roar. A roar of extreme fury turns into a terrifying shockwave sweeping across half of Mingzhu City. Countless Tiancheng foxes lurking in the dark are awakened. But at this moment, Jinbo's squad has already taken the 2 remains and disappeared outside the city. The moment they leave Mingzhu City, those 2 human bodies suddenly twist and deform, turning into 2 giant foxes. Beautifully done. Jinbo looks at the fox's remains and reveals a sinister smile. At least we know what the enemy looks like now. In the dark room, the badge in Lu Cici's hand lights up. Beep! The captain's voice comes through. From now on, you and Manny are in charge of secretly protecting Zheng Ping. As for his credibility, judge for yourself. I will coordinate with you to identify every Tianchang fox as much as possible. Lu Cici returns to you and removes her bindings. Verified? You ask, stretching your limbs. She nods, but we can't completely rule out that this is a trap. So, you can only act as an informant for now. You smile nonchalantly. As long as we can deal with these monsters, I don't mind being an informant. I have a question. You look straight into her eyes. Why can't the high-level awakeners in the city see through the disguise of these low-level monsters? Because Lu Cici takes a deep breath, giving an answer that makes your scalp tingle. In Mingzhu City, there is likely a hidden, king-level mutated beast. Your eyes widen instantly. King-level? Are you kidding me? Do we have a king-level on our side? You feel a chill rush from the soles of your feet to the top of your head. Then how are you supposed to fight it? Lu Cici falls silent. The next second, a force pulls you upward. You return to the surface. You return to the soul of iron, lying on your bed. Only one word occupies your mind. King level. Not enough firepower. For the first time, a strong sense of powerlessness surges in your heart. Since there is no king level, we'll just have to overwhelm them with numbers. The next day, you continue learning under Lu Tifeng. There are still many villages outside the city. The old man exhales a smoke ring and says slowly, the people in those villages, we call them savages. They worship monsters as gods and capture living people as sacrifices. In the wilderness, sometimes the most dangerous things aren't monsters. It's them. Your heart skips a beat. The schoolhound's claw. The old man throws a dark object at you. It counters the earth attribute. Grind it into powder and mix it with lamp oil, and you can create a weapon that specifically counters earth-type abilities. You weigh the dog claw in your hand. A rotten smell hits your face. Grandpa Lu, what's the difference between this ghoulhound and a normal dog? Black fur, red eyes, and a mouthful of human teeth. Lu Tifeng exhales a smoke ring, concise and clear. A goofy image of a dog wearing dentures immediately pops into your mind, almost making you laugh out loud. For the whole morning, you study under Lu Tifeng's guidance. After lunch, you sit by the furnace, ignite flames in your hands, and start practicing your newly developed move, Flame Palm. You're having a blast, just like a kid with a new toy. At this moment, a timid voice sounds behind you. Excuse me, how much is this sword? You turn around and see a delicate, almost effeminate-looking boy pointing at a sword. You get up and walk over, taking a look. This one is not for sale. It's a sample. Ah, the other ones are too expensive. The boy looks a bit embarrassed. Sorry, I'm just an apprentice. I don't make the rules. You shrug your shoulders. The boy walks away in disappointment. You watch his back, feeling that he looks a bit familiar, but you can't recall where you've seen him. Martial arts dojo. You suddenly remember. That boy from earlier seemed to mention. He trains at his family's dojo. Anyone who can open a dojo must be a strong fighter, right? You ponder to yourself, deciding to head out and scout the place tonight. Late at night, just as you climb out the window, you see Lu Cici's silhouette flash by in the alley. You immediately follow her. The next second, you step into thin air, and the two of you appear in that familiar dark room. There is a problem. Lu Cici gets straight to the point. When a Tianchang fox attacks, in the eyes of others, its actions are automatically rationalized. If it attacks you, I'll need a secret signal. Otherwise, I might not notice a thing. You frown. This is indeed a huge problem. Last time, when Luo Xiu attacked, to everyone else, it looked like she was treating people to dinner. A single signal might not work. You ponder for a moment. Let's prepare a few backups. If I yell, bail out, or toss a coin, or touch the ring on my right hand with my left index finger, they all mean I'm under attack. Lu Cici nods and takes out a wooden ring. Is it fireproof? You cut her off directly. She shook her head. It's useless. You smiled bitterly and spread your hands. A ball of flame rose in your palm. Lu Cici was visibly stunned for a moment. Your ability isn't the useless gem? This is one of the abilities. You didn't explain much, and simply extinguished the flame. All right, she didn't press the matter, but instead handed you a different jade tablet. This is called cold jade. The one in my hand is warm jade. Once your cold jade is heated by fire, mine will react and glow. When that happens, I'll know you're in trouble. After finalizing the plan, you left the dark room and started wandering the city at night. Half an hour later, you found a place named Beast King Gym, a martial arts dojo. The place was brightly lit, with many adventurers coming and going. Just as you walked in, a girl in a martial arts uniform greeted you with a smile. Student, how can I help you? You took the flyer and glanced at it. The prices were ridiculously high. Beast King Fist Ultimate Secret, 9,999 pearl coins. You clicked your tongue, knowing this place wasn't meant for a poor guy like you. However, with the 10,000 coins you requested from Lu Cici as operation funds in hand, you finally stepped into the dojo's inner room. There were already quite a few students inside, mostly between 25 and 30 years old. You looked entirely out of place until a teenager about your age walked in. Hi, I'm Wang Jiaming. The boy actively came over to greet you. You nodded. Zhang Ping. At this moment, the instructor arrived, a muscular, burly man in his 40s, with eyes like a wolf. You immediately cast an identify skill on him. Name, Baide. Rank, Advanced Awakener. Level, 25. Another big shot. Baide didn't waste any words and started teaching right away. The first three forms of Beast King Fist are Ape King form, Giant Croc form, and Phoenix Claw form. Today, we learn the Ape King form. You followed his movements to practice and quickly grasped the essentials. However, Wang Jiaming next to you was incredibly clumsy. For the exact same move, the instructor corrected him over 10 times, but he still got it wrong. Your foot. Is your foot divorced from your lower body? Baidu was sweating profusely from teaching and was completely speechless by the end. He looked at you, then looked at Wang Jiaming, and suddenly spoke up. You, spar with him. You and Wang Jiaming stood in the center of the ring. Begin. You dashed instantly, used a feint, and closed in on Wang Jiaming, like a monkey wrapping around his arm. You lightly planted a punch on his face. The entire process was smooth as flowing water, so fast that the other students couldn't even see it clearly. Wang Jiaming didn't even have time to react. Stop. Baidu sighed, obviously having given up on Wang Jiaming. But Wang Jiaming refused to leave, pleading with a miserable face. Instructor Bai, please, let me learn for a few more days. You were a bit curious. This guy clearly had no talent. So why was he forcing himself to learn? You secretly cast Identify on him. Name, Wang Jiaming. Potential, 7 stars. Talent, hard work pays off. Learning ability reduced by 90%. Any skill can be improved through persistent training. For every day of persistence, growth speed for similar training increases by 10%, up to a maximum of 1000%. Good heavens, you cursed silently. 7-star potential, hard work pays off. This wasn't a trash tier at all. This was a hidden, super overpowered cheater. As long as he gets the basics down and keeps at it, his growth rate would become terrifying. This guy is a rare talent. You instantly made a decision in your heart. Although he trained until his face was red and covered in sweat, by the end of class, not even a single Ape King form was successfully executed. In contrast, even Ye Chen Comics, observing from the side, could feel you had already grasped the basics of this fist technique. Right after that, the two of you headed back together. Chatting on the way, you found out this guy was actually driven crazy by elite education, a typical second-generation rich kid. Brother Ping, let's practice again tomorrow. Wang Jiaming smiled genuinely, completely unaware that he was actually a late-game boss. You climbed through the window back to your room. As soon as you landed, you felt something wrong with the atmosphere. Who would have thought? Lu Cece was already sitting expressionless at your desk, waiting for you. Sister Cece, it's the middle of the night. You scared me. You casually closed and locked the window. Information has leaked. Lu Cece's voice was freezing cold, yet revealed a hint of anxiety. Something went wrong with the sweep operation. Someone was severely injured. That day, Chang Hu had an ability to make people inexplicably trust him. You didn't mention it. Your heart skipped a beat, and you immediately shook your head in denial. The ones I pointed out to you definitely had no extra skills. Either they swapped identities, or a prophecy-type ability is interfering. I'll look into it. Be careful these days. After Lu Cece finished speaking, her figure flickered like a drop of water merging into the ocean, instantly vanishing into thin air. Looking at the empty room, you couldn't help but mutter, this girl comes and goes without a trace every time. Sure is convenient. When Saturday arrived, early in the morning, you finished practicing a set of Ming Fist and ran through the newly learned Ape King form twice. Right after that, you returned to the shop after buying groceries, ready to start a day's forging practice. Grandpa Lu took you around the material room, showing off a dark blue finger in a jar. See this? A sea dweller's finger. 60 years ago, those monsters tried to land from Changsha River. I was just a rookie back then. I fought a thrilling battle alongside the city lord and the big shots. The oceanoids could also be considered savages. You stare curiously at that livid finger, a mutated hybrid from the sea. They worship the sea god and sea land dwellers as mortal enemies. Grandpa Lu snorted, then pulled out a feather as red as blood. A firebird feather. This thing is a real treasure. It bursts into flames when flying. Making it a hidden weapon is absolutely uncounterable. Too bad. They cost 50,000 pearl coins each on the market, and they're usually out of stock. You stare at the feather, feeling an intense itch in your heart. If only you could get a knife made of firebird feathers, paired with your Fire Eater talent. Wouldn't that be a lighter with infinite fuel? In the afternoon, at closing time, Grandpa Lu went upstairs to rest. You were just about to call it a day when the front door was violently pushed open. Cho Chang, carrying bags of all sizes, stormed in cursing. That smell of dirt mixed with energy fluctuations could be smelled from 3 meters away. He plopped down in front of the counter, spewing fiery profanities. You could tell he had a rough time in the wilderness. Uncle Chiang, what happened to you? You quickly stepped forward. Chao Chiang rolled up his sleeves. There were hideous, unhealed wolf claw marks on his arm. He spat on the ground resentfully. Damn it, the northern woods are swarming with mutated wolves. I covered the rear and was almost killed by those beasts. Then I ran into a bunch of savages. They unleashed wind blades without a word, breaking my life-saving earth-burrowing shovel. As he spoke, he pulled a crystal glowing with an emerald light from his coat. Smack! He slammed it on the table. A wind gem. Your eyes went wide. This thing, I pried it off a savage's weapon. Guess I got my revenge. Chao Chiang proudly handed the wind gem to you. Here, feel it yourself. The city is full of fakes. Once you've seen the real deal, you won't get scammed in the future. You carefully took the gem. The moment the gem touched your palm, you heard a soft pop in your ear. Then, countless noisy voices flooded in like a tide. 12 has fallen. Damn humans. I'm going to kill 2 more today. What a cute little girl. Come to uncle. Add 3 spoons of sugar and a pinch of salt. You quickly cast an appraisal on yourself. Talent. Wind Whisperer. The wind will bring you all sorts of news, even the things you don't want to know. Honestly, you were both shocked and overjoyed. You actually awakened a new talent, And an unturn-offable passive skill at that. Enduring the chaotic voices in your head, you pretended to be calm and returned the gem to Cho Chang. Though inside, a stormy sea was raging. At noon, at Soul of Iron, wrong stance. Do it again. You were practicing fire control, while guiding Wang Jieming, who had just learned the basics of the Ape King style. Suddenly, a hoarse voice echoed in your mind, and it was in dual-channel stereo surround sound. You Leo, look at those two kids. They look tasty. Let's have them for lunch. You whipped your head around. Two Tiancheng foxes were evaluating you and Wang Jieming from the doorway, like picking out goods. Your heart sank. You immediately gripped the cold king in your pocket. Flames instantly ignited in your palm. Almost at the same time, the ground beneath your feet suddenly turned into a black hole. All four of you dropped straight down, into a dark room. The two Tiancheng foxes reacted incredibly fast, lunging at you the moment they landed. You pulled Wang Jieming and retreated violently, shouting at the same time, "Watch out! Monsters!" Flames surged from your palms, but were easily torn apart by one of the foxes. The 3-meter-tall monster swiped its sharp claws straight at your vitals. You clumsily rolled to dodge, shouting at an empty corner, "Sister Cece, if you don't come out, I'm a goner." But Liu Sishan didn't appear. The power gap between you two and these monsters was a whole tier. It was a completely one-sided beatdown. You jumped around, scrambling and rolling, giving it your all just to stall for time. 30 seconds later, you were forced into a dead end. The Tiancheng fox grinned maliciously and raised its claw. You could even smell the scent of imminent doom. Just then, a stream of blue water shot over like a venomous snake, instantly slicing through the Tiancheng fox's neck. The massive fox head flew into the air, and golden liquid sprayed like a fountain, covering the dark room. You followed the water's trail. Lu Xishan was standing in the corner, surrounded by swirling water vapor, like a descending goddess. She didn't even give you a chance to catch your breath. With a backhand, another water stream effortlessly finished off the other Tiancheng fox. "You guys go back first. We'll talk tonight." Before her voice faded, you and Wang Jieming were bounced back to Soul of Iron by an invisible force. You leaned against the furnace, devouring flames to restore your stamina. Only one thought remained in your mind. "I'm still too weak." Gritting your teeth, you squeezed out your last bit of mental energy to condense a contract gem. You swallowed it in one gulp, then fell into a deep sleep by the furnace. Meanwhile, at the City Lord's manor, a giant golden fox without a human face mask, the leader of the Tiancheng foxes, was sitting in the seat of honor. "This week, 9 have fallen." His voice was deep and furious. "Let's just wipe out all the humans. And what? You'll eat grass then?" Chaos erupted below. "Stop." As soon as it spoke, all the Tiancheng foxes instantly fell silent. It looked at the prince beside it. "My son, what do you think? Lure out the hiding rats and eliminate them one by one." The Moon Prince, the guy wearing Luo Shiyu's face, spoke with a freezing tone. "Good." The Moon King slowly closed its eyes. "I will enter hibernation and conceal my aura. From now on, it's all up to you." "Yes." A gleam of excitement flashed in the Moon Prince's eyes. His tall figure stood in front of the Moon King, issuing orders to all the Tiancheng foxes. "From this moment on, I am in command." All the Tiancheng foxes replied in unison. "Understood." Inside a dark room at night, Shang Ping, what on earth is going on? As soon as Wang Jieming saw you, he couldn't wait to ask. You told him everything about the Tiancheng foxes in detail. After hearing this, Wang Jieming's face instantly turned pale. I suspect my mom has been devoured." His voice trembled. "Lately, she keeps teaching me things I already know, and she doesn't cook anymore." Your heart skipped a beat. You immediately grabbed his shoulders. "Don't scare yourself just yet. I'll go to your house later to check." Wang Jieming looked up, his eyes red. "Zhang Ping, if my mom really was devoured, what else can we do?" "Avenge your mother, of course. Kill that damn beast." Lu Xishan suddenly appeared in the dark room and said those words. Both you and Wang Jieming were startled. "Cece, you nearly scared us to death." You patted your chest. "Cut the crap. The mutated beasts outside the city are about to riot," Lu Xishan said coldly. "The patrol guards were wiped out by the Tiancheng foxes. The city defenses are practically useless. I won't have time to protect you moving forward." You immediately replied, "I know. The boss of the Tiancheng foxes has gone into hibernation. It concealed its aura, so the beasts outside all want to come in and get a piece of the pie." As for the contents of the Tiancheng foxes meeting, you had already used the Wind Whisperer to hear everything clearly. "These bastards." You cursed inwardly. "You actually knew about this?" Lu Xishan looked at you in surprise, then frowned deeply. "What else are they planning?" "That prince wants to observe the chaos. Whoever dares to stand up and fight the mutated beasts will become his primary target." You straightforwardly exposed their trump card. "They want to wipe out all the strong fighters in Pearl City." Lu Xishan sneered. "They want to play an open scheme? Let's see who dies first." The next second, you and Wang Jieming felt the world spin. In the blink of an eye, you were back at the Soul of Iron. Wang Jieming's face was still pale. He grabbed your arm and asked, "Zhang Ping, can I sleep here tonight? I'm afraid of going home and facing something that isn't my mom." You sighed. "The guest room is over there. Go get some sleep." Late at night, in the extermination squad's meeting room, the Tiancheng foxes want to muddy the waters. So let's add some spice to it. Sitsu Shibai, the 200-year-old monster, spoke with a smiling face. "Activate the Phantom Light Veil. Since the foxes love to watch so much, let's give them a good show." Chen Ming, the half-baked prophet, pushed up his glasses. "Let's be a bit more aggressive. Eliminate as many as we can. Although the future is unclear, my intuition tells me this wave will be a success." Early the next morning, Pearl City seemed calm on the surface, but undercurrents were surging beneath. On the street, 3 Tianjin foxes, Moon 1, Moon 2, and Moon 3, swaggered along, staring at the pedestrians like they were picking livestock. They possessed formidable strength, second only to the Moon Prince. Moon 1, I feel like the sky looks a bit fake. Moon 3 muttered, stop being so paranoid. Just hurry up and find food. Moon 2 mocked. Little did they know, they had already been trapped by the phantom light veil, inside a dead-end alley. In their eyes, this was a bustling downtown area. But in the eyes of Jinbo and the other extermination squad fighters, they were just birds in a cage. Do it. Jinbo let out a furious roar. Golden lightning patterns instantly erupted across his body. His hair stood on end, making him look like a god of war. He's like a Super Saiyan. You stood on a distant watchtower, watching Jinbo throw a punch, smashing the 3-meter-tall Moon One straight into the concrete wall. The wall collapsed instantly. Immediately after, Yi Chen's eyes fired out deep blue cutting beams. One of Moon 2's arms was sliced clean off like tofu. An earth-shattering scream rang out. Luhan's psionic flying sword was incredibly elusive. In the blink of an eye, it blasted a huge hole in Moon 3's chest. Too strong. You couldn't help but mutter to yourself. Jinbo didn't give them any chance to catch their breath. Yi Chen unleashed a frenzied barrage of attacks on the 3 foxes disoriented by the illusion. Their fists were as heavy as meteors, beating those guys so badly their own mothers wouldn't recognize them. With one final heavy punch, Moon 1's vital spot exploded like a watermelon. Retreat. Jinbo didn't even glance at the remains, before instantly vanishing into the mist. Suddenly, a terrifying aura descended upon the plaza. It's the Moon Prince. You instinctively wanted to activate the appraisal skill, but your heart suddenly clenched. The premonition of danger made you break out in a cold sweat. Your intuition was screaming at you. If you dared to appraise him, his tail would slap your head off in the very next second. Damn it. The power gap is too huge. We don't stand a chance. Gritting your teeth, you tightly clutch Lu Sishan's clothes. The Moon Prince lands on the plaza. Looking at the 3 mutilated corpses, it lets out a beastly roar. It tears off the skin on its forehead, revealing its hideous true form. The terrifying pressure makes it hard for you to breathe, even a kilometer away. Sister Cece, we have to go. This guy can spot me, you say hurriedly. Lu Sishan snorts coldly, grabs your collar, and dashes out of the city. Now you know fear? You are too weak. For the next 5 days, I'll train you until you don't even recognize yourself. If you can't hold on and die out there, don't blame me for being ruthless. Wait, what about my job at Soul of Money? Wang Jiaming already asked for leave for you. Now, shut up. Rocky shoal outside the city. The area is filled with jagged rocks, giving off a chilling, deadly vibe. Before you can even stand steady, a stream of water beside Lu Sishan lashes out like a whip, slicing a nearby cobblestone in half. Sister Cece, are you serious? You draw. Tears of a beauty, dagger. Your face full of caution. This is special training. If you can't break through within 5 days, meeting the Moon Prince means certain death. 4 water spheres spin rapidly around Lu Sishan. There is no warmth in her eyes. Attack me with all your strength. Otherwise, I will finish you. Damn it. I'm going all in. You yell out loud, using the ape step, your body moving like an agile ape, leaping frantically among the rocks. The dagger in your hand flashes with a cold light, aiming straight for Lu Sishan's throat. However, your movements are as slow as a snail in her eyes. Before you even get close, a giant palm made of high-pressure water slaps you right in the face. Bang! You sprawl on the ground, feeling like your bones are falling apart. Ouch! You grimace in pain, gasping for air, but Lu Sishan doesn't give you a chance to breathe. A barrage of water bullets sweeps towards you again. You can only roll and dodge pathetically. Is this all you've got? Lu Sishan stops her attack, looking down at you, panting heavily. You reply grumpily, Sister Cece, I'm only level 3. Do you expect me to fly? You just haven't been pushed to the brink yet. The corner of Lu Sishan's mouth curls up. The next moment, dozens of water whips appear out of thin air, lashing out at you from all directions. Smack! A whip strikes your back, making your eyes bulge in pain. Damn it. You curse in your head. This woman is trying to kill me. You don't dare hold back anymore. Flames erupt from your palms, forming a wall of fire, barely blocking the water whip's attacks. However, those whips are like octopus tentacles, striking from all sorts of tricky angles. You flail around, jumping up and down, but you still get lashed until your whole body burns with pain. Under the pressure of life and death, you gradually enter a wondrous state. Unnecessary thoughts are discarded. You start to clearly feel the rhythm of the wind. You can anticipate the water whip's attacks every time, blocking them precisely with your flames. A minute later, the fire element energy in your body is depleted. You collapse on the ground, completely exhausted. I'm done. Just finish me. You close your eyes, accepting your fate like a lamb to the slaughter. The water whips don't fall. Instead, they retract to Lu Sishan's side, turning back into water spheres. You are strong. Lu Sishan walks up to you. Among those of the same level, no one is your match. It took me a year to reach the intermediate level. You might be faster. 2 hours later, camp at Salt Mountain. You sit by the blazing campfire, frantically absorbing the flames to recover your stamina. Sister Cece, 500 push-ups is underestimating me. Let me do 5,000 as a warm-up. You find that you can exercise while absorbing fire, giving you almost infinite stamina. Then, like a madman, after finishing 5,000 push-ups, you start frog jumping around the campfire until it gets dark. Night. Acid grassland. That is your opponent. Lu Sishan points at a rabbit nibbling grass nearby and says to you, without a word, you cast appraisal on it. Beast. Corrosive water bullet rabbit. Level 9. Talent. Corrosive water bullet. Can shoot highly corrosive water from its ears. You look at the rabbit, calculating in your mind how to attack. The area is covered with sharp, poisonous acid grass. There's no way to get close. Suddenly, you have a flash of inspiration. You release a small flame and discover that the acid grass softens when exposed to fire. So that's it, you instantly understand. Taking off your shirt and shoes, barefoot, you charge forward with your body engulfed in flames. The acid grass softens instantly under your feet, unable to hurt you at all. The rabbit reacts quickly too. With a flick of its ears, countless black, corrosive water bullets shoot at you like a shotgun blast. You evaporate most of the bullets with your flames, but the dagger in your hand gets riddled with tiny holes. Damn it. You have no time to feel bad for the weapon, and stab the dagger toward the rabbit. Unexpectedly, the rabbit curls into a ball and sprays a huge amount of acid grass juice from its fur. Your dagger is instantly corroded, leaving only the hilt. You curse, throw away the hilt, ignite your fists with fire, and punch straight at it. But the rabbit kicks its legs and vanishes in a flash. Sister Cece, it got away. You spread your hands helplessly. It ran? Then chase it. Lu Sishan's tone leaves no room for argument. Half-hour game. Salt Frost Tree Valley. In the center of the valley, a 70-meter-tall giant white tree rises from the ground. Over 20 translucent fruits hang from its branches. Within the valley, densely packed mutated beasts are slaughtering each other madly. Golden light converges into a river. Sister Cece, did you really manage to snatch a fruit back then? Looking at this purgatory-like scene, you swallow hard. I said I fought for one. I never said I got it. Following her gaze, you spot the rabbit that had run away. But immediately after, behind that rabbit, a massive swarm of its kind appears. That wasn't just one, it was a whole nest. Sister Cece, you knew all along. You look at her in disbelief. Every year, they use this kind of suicide charge to reduce their population. Lu Shishan says calmly. Just then, inside your head, the Wind Whisperer transmits a loud shout. Do it. The next second, the mutated beasts and awakeners, hiding in the dark, surge toward the salt frost tree like a tidal wave. Some step on rainbow stairs to rush straight for the canopy. Others throw flying axes to set up rope bridges. A group of giant white apes acts like bulldozers, crushing out a path. At the same time, a 20-meter-long giant white snake bursts from the ground, opening its massive maw to devour frantically. The dense swarm of corrosive wood bullet rabbits also launches their suicide charge. The entire valley instantly turns into an energy meat grinder. Move! Before Lu Sishan's voice fades, an ice path condenses beneath her feet, and she crashes into the battlefield like a falling meteor. You follow closely behind, leaping down from the high ground. Pushing off a rock, you head straight for the largest rabbit leader. Appraisal: corrosive water bullet rabbit leader. Rank: mid-tier mutated beast. Level: 10. Your heart skips a beat. You actually feel an absurd sense that you can't beat a rabbit. But since you're already here, wimping out would be too embarrassing. You pick up a rock covered in salt frost and smash it fiercely at the target. The next moment, the rabbit leader leaps explosively and kicks the rock you're holding. Boom! The rock shatters. You are blasted flying by a tremendous force. Your arms instantly go numb, your chest feels tight, and you cough up a mouthful of golden energy clumps. Internal injuries. Ignoring the pain, you roll away to dodge the incoming corrosive water, scrambling on all fours behind a rock, panting heavily. Even a lion uses its full strength to hunt a rabbit. You actually underestimated a rabbit. This lesson is way too profound. You peek out and see Lu Sishan has already carved an ice crystal path through the siege. Suddenly, a phoenix cry tears through the sky. A small bird wreathed in flames darts straight toward the salt frost tree. A bird? Your heart rate spikes instantly. But right after, the giant white snake spews out a cloud of frost mist. The firebird lets out a mournful cry and falls from the sky, getting swatted away by a white ape, rolling all the way to the edge of the battlefield. You stare intently at the firebird's remains. A bold idea rushes into your mind. Let's do it. You make a prompt decision. Wearing the assassination ring, you crawl toward the firebird's remains. The battlefield's geothermal heat and energy residue wash over your face. You feel like you're dancing on the edge of a meat grinder. Thud! A massive pig's head crashes down right in front of you. You shudder in fright. Bypass it, but then step back. You pry open the pig's mouth, and a black bead rolls out. You don't have time to appraise it, so you just stuff it in your pocket and keep moving. Suddenly, a bolt of lightning sweeps past. The firebird's remains are instantly reduced to half. You dash over in a flash, scoop up the half-charred firebird, turn around, and run. Once back behind the rock, you're as tired as an exhausted dog. You take out that black bead and start appraising it. Appraisal successful. Nethermist orb, formed after the fall of the Nethermist black goat from its energy core. Upon absorption, there is a 1% chance to gain the ability to manipulate Nethermist. You look at the appraisal result, falling into silence. To absorb or not to absorb? That truly is a philosophical question. Su Jingyao's mimicked disguise flashes before your eyes. The prince's uncomfortable smile flashes before your eyes. Your own despair under the claws of the heavenly fox flashes before your eyes. Does a weakling like me have the right to be picky? You laugh self-deprecatingly, throw your head back, and absorb the orb. The next second, a sharp pain hits your abdomen. You curl up into a ball, feeling like something just shot from your stomach into your brain. Right after that, black mist begins seeping from every pore of your body. 5 minutes later, the pain subsides. You slump on the ground and use an appraisal on yourself. Level 9, 5 stars. Lifespan, 99. New talent, Aberrant Eater. When absorbing special items, there is a 10% chance to acquire the corresponding special physique. New talent, Nethermist Physique. Can convert the absorbed fear of living creatures into manipulatable nethermist. Worth it. You almost laugh out loud. You leveled up 6 times in a row. gained 10 years of lifespan, and got 2 incredibly badass talents, especially this one, Nether Mist. It can actually injure enemies of a higher level. Awesome. As you laugh, tears stream down your face. The feeling of getting stronger is truly wonderful. You use the flames to recover your energy and look toward the rabbit leader not far away. Time to settle the score. You flick your finger, and a ball of nether mist shoots out instantly. The rabbit boss reacted extremely fast, kicking right at the nether mist. But in the next second, the nether mist pierced straight through its leg into its vitals. One strike, instant death. You carried the 40-pound rabbit back behind the rock, formed a small knife out of the nether mist, skinned it, and removed its organs. Then you roasted it over the fire, sprinkling the salt you scraped from the ground. A strange, savory meat aroma instantly wafted out. You tore off a rabbit leg and took a bite. Crispy on the outside, tender on the inside, bursting with juices. This taste is absolutely incredible. However, you miscalculated one thing. At the edge of the battlefield, 3 black-skinned, red-eyed ghoulhounds with human teeth smelled the meat. They charged at you like crazy. Awoo! Just as you jumped up, one ghoulhound pounced from behind, while another attacked from the front. In a split second, the nether mist knife in your hand turned into a throwing knife with a bizarre curve. It shot right through the vitals of the hound behind you. You used the momentum to step back and waved your right hand to cast a wall of fire, blocking the frontal attack. Immediately after, the throwing knife pierced through the flames, critically wounding another one's vitals. Ghoulhounds. You recognize these things, and your expression changed. The moment you jumped, the ground erupted, and the third ghoulhound burst out of the dirt, opening its massive jaws to bite right at your crotch. I'll finish you. Terrified and shocked, you threw the nether mist knife again, pinning it directly to the ground. You touched your crotch, your face completely pale. If that had bitten me, the consequences would be unimaginable. Did you take care of them? Just as you were about to dispose of the hound's corpses, Lu Xishan returned. She was completely spotless, holding a frost salt fruit in her hand. Just as you were about to speak, a cold, flowing water whip had silently pressed against your neck. Sister Cece, what are you doing? You raised your hands, looking completely bewildered. Lu Xishan didn't speak. She walked over, checked your eyelids, and walked around to check your back, before withdrawing the water whip. You encountered a nether mist mutated beast, she asked with a serious expression. Sensing something was wrong, you told her exactly what had just happened. You couldn't hide it anyway. Once back in the city for an appraisal, even your underwear would be thoroughly exposed. After hearing your story, Lu Xishan fell silent. She turned around, took a few deep breaths, and suddenly spun back around. Pinning you against the rock, she roared, "Ping! Are you tired of living? How dare you eat things of unknown origin? Do you know you almost died? Almost died? You were in disbelief. The appraisal skill isn't omnipotent." Lu Xishan's voice trembled slightly. The thing you ate was a parasite. Once possessed, your consciousness would have dissipated. Do you see the problem now? You instantly recalled the phantom-like scream during your stomachache. So that damn thing was trying to take over my body. Wait, you thought of your status panel. Aberrant Eater was listed before Nether Mist Body. Could it be that Aberrant Eater digested the parasite? Listen well, Gang Ping. Lu Xishan's tone was unprecedentedly solemn. There's no such thing as a free lunch in this world. If it were really that easy to gain superpowers, Pearl City would already be full of dual ability awakeners. Only then did you break out in a delayed cold sweat. Back in the camp tent, you took the water and frost salt fruit Lu Xishan handed you, and took a bite. Your face instantly scrunched up like a bitter melon. Goodness, this thing could kill a man. You gulped down some water. Didn't your teacher teach you not to drink others' water randomly in the wild? Lu Xishan suddenly asked. The next second, your eyes widened. You felt something churning violently in your stomach. Your entire body suddenly went splash and turned into a puddle of water. Lu Xishan was also stunned. She reached out and touched the liquid, muttering, "Pure water? Sister Cece, you're poking my belly." Your voice came from the water. Half an hour later, you barely managed to restore your human form. A person made of pure water. You cast appraisal on yourself. Potential, 6 stars. New talent, pure water body. The body can transform into a pure water state. In pure water state, can absorb moisture to restore stamina and heal injuries. Another new ability. You felt like today was your lucky day. Can you change back? Lu Xishan sounded somewhat worried. Piece of cake. With a single thought, your body gradually shifted back from water to its original flesh. All your injuries were fully healed too. Put your clothes on first. Lu Xishan tossed your clothes to you and turned away. You put on your clothes awkwardly and noticed a layer of dust underneath your old clothes. Pure water body can even expel impurities? You thought to yourself. Lu Xishan turned back around. Seeing your arm still in its pure water state, she said in annoyance, "Keep eating. Don't waste it." She admitted it. She was jealous. The next day, in a deserted valley. "Come on, let's test your new ability." Lu Xishan didn't say another word and directly started fighting. As a water whip swept over, you turned into pure water and took the hit head on. The water whip merged into your body. Lu Xishan instantly felt she lost control of that portion of water. It really counters me, she thought to herself. Next, ice cones and boiling water. All kinds of attacks came at you one after another. Though you screamed in agony, you remained completely unharmed. Now, attack me. Lu Xishan deployed a water bubble for defense. I like this. Before you could finish speaking, a flying knife made of nether mist pierced the bubble, hovering right between Lu Xishan's eyebrows. Her pupils shrank instantly. She broke out in a cold sweat. If you had any murderous intent just now, she would be dead already. Why can Nether Mist bypass level differences? You retracted the flying knife, asking curiously. Some scholars guess it might be the offspring of a king tier mutated beast. King tier? The image of the prince surfaced in your mind, making your heart skip a beat. After a whole day of testing, you gained a comprehensive understanding of your new abilities. Nether Mist can absorb fear within a 10-meter radius. Attacking consumes a lot of energy, but its power is incredible. The pure wood body grants immunity to most physical attacks, but elementalization takes 1 second, and stamina consumption doubles in high-temperature environments. You even developed a new move, Chainsaw Form. Lu Zishan gave you a final assessment. Your current strength is roughly half that of an advanced awakener, but your level is too low right now. Neither your stamina nor your mental power can sustain a high-intensity battle. Put simply, your endurance is just too poor. Also, your combat experience is practically zero. If you encounter a serious advanced awakener, you have no choice but to run away. By evening, you both return to the camp. You go back first. I need to head back to the city tonight. Lu Zishan stopped at the entrance. Be careful on the road. You nodded. As you walked into the camp, a group of salt porters was gathered around the campfire. You moved closer, just in time to hear them chatting about strange events in the city. Have you heard? The lady running the bun shop turned into a flat piece of dough. I heard someone went missing at the Dragon Spear Armory too. Listening to their discussion, you felt wisps of fear drifting from them, which you quietly absorbed. Yeah. You lowered your voice, chiming in with feigned mystery. I know some inside info about this. There are actually several similar cases, all covered up by the higher-ups. The surrounding salt porters gasped. The terrifying atmosphere instantly peaked. Standing in the crowd, you enjoyed the thrill of fear converting into nether mist. Late at night, you sat by the campfire, looking at the belt formed by nether mist around your waist. A thought popped into your head. If I tell ghost stories here, I wonder if I can absorb more fear? Acting on the idea, you controlled the nether mist to cover your face, instantly morphing it into a shifting skull mask. Ah! A salt porter getting up nearby saw you, let out a scream, and fainted dead away from sheer terror. You quickly dismissed the mask and ran over, pinching his philtrum and patting his face. You finally managed to wake him up. But as a result, when the guy opened his eyes and saw you, his eyes rolled back and he fainted again. You dragged him next to the campfire and returned to your tent. Using a puddle of water as a mirror, you even scared yourself. That face made of nether mist looked absolutely demonic. Ah! The guy by the campfire woke up again. He looked up, just in time to see the skull face illuminated inside the tent. With another scream, he spectacularly fainted for the third time. You silently lowered the tent flap, deciding to use this trick in future battles. It would definitely scare the pants off your enemies. At 4 a.m., Lu Zishan returned. Her face was filled with exhaustion and sorrow. Something happened. While sorting the materials she brought back, she said in a heavy tone, "The Moon Prince came out to hunt for food. Jinbo took some people to probe it. As a result, Jinbo was heavily injured, and 2 teammates died. Your training ends here. We're heading back to the city at dawn." What ability did the Moon Prince use? Your heart tightened. It only used its tail. Lu Zishan's voice was a bit hoarse. Its tail can split and extend. It's incredibly fast and has extreme penetrating power. Hearing this, a chill ran down your spine. If you had used your appraisal skill on it back then, you would be a lifeless corpse by now. Can't you gain constitutions by eating things? Use these materials for testing. Lu Zishan pointed to a pile of metal on the bed. You picked up a black iron block and asked, "What if I get heavy metal poisoning?" "Don't worry, I brought antidotes." Bracing yourself, your mouth turned into pure water as you opened it wide and swallowed the iron block whole. The next second, you felt your internal organs twisting together. "Sister Cece, what the hell is this?" You rolled on the ground in pain. An iron block. Lu Zishan's tone carried a hint of a smile. You quickly used your appraisal skill to check. This was actually an iron block coated in deadly poison. "Why is it poisoned?" You asked angrily. "To test your resistance and see if you can acquire a highly toxic body." You felt like you were about to die from the poison. Just as you were about to curse her out, Lu Zishan reminded you, "Why not try turning into pure water?" You froze for a moment, then instantly transformed your body into pure water. Sure enough, the poison feeling vanished. "I asked the captain on your behalf," Lu Zishan said as she saw you recover, speaking seriously. "He suggests you focus on 1 or 2 abilities and master them to the extreme. Your abilities will keep increasing, but a person's energy is limited." You completely agreed. Situ Shibai, that duplication ability user, his advice definitely carried weight. Therefore, you steeled yourself and took all the materials Lu Zishan brought back, whether they were poisoned or not, stuffing them into your stomach one by one. A few hours later, you collapsed on the bed, feeling like you were about to throw up from overeating. Yet you hadn't gained a single new ability. It seemed this method wasn't very reliable. You turned into a puddle of water, writhed around on the bed, and finally transformed back into human form, saying to Lu Zishan, "Sister Cece, I've decided. For now, I'll focus solely on practicing the nether mist and the pure water body." Meanwhile, at the Sweeper Squad headquarters, Situ Shibai tapped his finger lightly, and the entire office instantly turned black and white. Captain, a shadow, Chen Ming, appeared before him. "The whereabouts of the investigation squad. Have you found out?" Situ Shibai asked without even looking up. "Squad 19 has left the city. The 3 squads inside the city show no abnormalities for now." "No abnormalities is the biggest abnormality itself," Situ Shibai sneered. "Go investigate Susu, the captain of Squad High, see exactly how severe her injuries really are. He knew very well that for the Tianchang foxes to invade so silently, there must be an inside mole coordinating with them. The patrol squad was completely wiped out, so the surviving investigation squad seems extremely suspicious. After the Shadow Chen Ming received his orders and vanished, Situ Shibai looked at the map with a profound gaze. He stood up, and his body split into two. One continued handling official business, while the other pushed open the office door. Outside, it was astonishingly the streets of Pearl City. As soon as day broke, Yu and Lu Sishan returned to Pearl City. After saying goodbye to Lu Sishan, Yu went back to Soul of Iron. "Why are you back early?" Chu Chang asked with a smile. "I learned fast." You smiled, preparing to go upstairs. But just as you took a step, you noticed that both Chu Chang and Lu Tifeng were frozen still. You suddenly turned around and saw a white-haired, white-bearded old man standing at the door, smiling. His gaze felt like it could see right through you. "Who are you?" You put down your luggage, on high alert. "Don't you have the appraisal skill? Just use it and you'll know." The old man teased. Appraisal failed. Appraisal failed 66 times. Appraisal failed 666 times. Your heart sank, but you had actually already guessed his identity. The captain of the sweeper squad. Situ Shibai. "Stop appraising. It's useless." Situ Shibai walked into the shop and went straight up to the second floor. You poured a cup of tea and carefully asked, "How should I address you?" Playing coy. Situ Shibai saw right through your probing at a glance. Through the wind whisperer. "Haven't you already learned my name?" Your heart skipped a beat. Immediately after, Situ Shibai smiled faintly again. "Before you have the ability to block mind reading, it's best not to think too much." You immediately forced your mind to go completely blank. "Since me, Pearl City hasn't produced another unlimited class in over 200 years. Situ Shibai put down his teacup and looked at you. "Tell me, how could I not come and take a look?" He got straight to the point. "I'm very curious. As for my abilities, can they actually copy an unlimited class?" He reached out his hand and pulled an exaggerated scythe and a golden bracelet out of a black hole Ye Chen Manga Bilibili, placing them on the table. The Scythe of Fear. It can induce fear and absorb energy to evolve. The Golden Vault. 450 cubic meters of storage space. He looked at you. "No matter the outcome, these two items, plus answering all your questions, are your reward." You looked at the two divine artifacts on the table, and your breathing quickened. Especially that scythe. It was practically tailor-made for you. You used appraisal to confirm their stats, and saw the cruel scenes from when they were forged. You hesitated. "I agree." Ultimately, you still agreed. Situ Shibai was simply offering too much. He reached out and pressed his palm against yours. A second later, he sighed softly. "It's over." You were a bit baffled. "It's over." Situ Shibai shook his head. "Your ability, I cannot copy." Although disappointed, he wasn't surprised. Then, he helped you bind the equipment and began to answer your questions. "Old Mr. Situ, you are so powerful. Why don't you take action and deal with the Moon Prince?" This was the question you couldn't figure out the most. "It's not that I won't, it's that I can't." Situ Shibai walked to the window and said in a deep voice, "Pearl City has the King Tier artifact, the Sun and Moon Pearl. Any King Tier beast that enters will be downgraded." But now, you instantly understood, your face turning ashen. "There's an inside mole." Yes, the remnants of the Zhu family. A trace of sorrow flashed through Situ Shibai's eyes. He told you about that dark history from 200 years ago, a family that treated humans as slaves and livestock feed. Why weren't these scums wiped out back then? You clenched your fists, burning with anger. Situ Shibai smiled bitterly. "The situation is far more complex than you think." After a long talk, the situation in Pearl City gradually became clear before your eyes. Now, the most important thing is to find the mole and investigate the background of the Tianchang Fox King. And the only one who can see through the Tianchang Fox's disguise is you. Your mission is to investigate that damn prince. For the next few days, you lived a highly routine life. During the day, you learned about ore sorting. In the first half of the night, you practiced martial arts. And in the second half of the night, you transformed into the Grim Reaper, roaming the streets of Pearl City, hunting for those hiding in the shadows. The sweeper squad had the whole city under surveillance, yet found absolutely nothing. This in itself explained the problem. You knew very well that the remnants of the beast-taming Zhu family must have used some method to evade the surveillance. At midnight, you drifted through the streets like a ghost, casually scaring a few drunks along the way. To collect some high-quality fear, suddenly, you spotted 3 suspicious-looking individuals. They came out of a house, carrying eerie green lanterns in their hands. Weaving through the alleys, you quietly followed them, and found them stopping near a mansion, starting to set up some kind of barrier. You immediately contacted Lu Sishan, Sister Cece, at 13 Tianhuo Road. "There are 3 suspicious guys." "Got it. I'll ask Manny." Lu Sishan's voice came from the badge, with sounds of chaotic battle in the background. Soon, Manny replied, "There's nothing unusual at Tianhuo Road. Even you can't be seen. Something's wrong." Lu Sishan immediately realized something was off. "Don't act rashly. Wait for me to get there." You put away the badge, transforming into a giant black python enveloped in nether mist, silently climbing onto the roof. To observe from above, you saw those 3 using a few stones to break the mansion's barrier, so you cast an appraisal on the stones. Dragon-suppressing stone can override the vast majority of barriers. The vision of its creation shattered your worldview once again. It was cast using the origin power of living awakeners. Your eyes gradually became determined, adding another goal in your heart. You must never let the beast-taming Zhu family rise from the ashes. The 3 sneaked into the mansion, seeming to look for someone. You observed patiently, until they brought a sleeping girl out of her room. Oh no, they're trying to escape. You immediately followed them, and simultaneously cast an appraisal on the girl. Name, Chen Ting, star companion, talent, holy light physique. Her internal origin power has the ability to purify all life. 1, 2, star potential. You gasped in shock, although you didn't understand what the holy light physique was actually used for. You knew that. You absolutely couldn't let them take her away. With your face covered in nether mist and wielding the scythe of fear, you leaped down from the roof, like the descent of the Grim Reaper. Oh my god! The guy bringing up the rear saw your face and was scared witless. With a single slash, you severed his vitals and sent his head flying. Huang-san is dead. The crimson-eyed leader's expression changed. Huang Wu, go block him. Another subordinate stopped immediately. Raising both hands, countless rocks rose from the ground, crashing towards you like a meteor shower. You transformed into pure water, letting the rocks pass harmlessly through your body, completely unscathed. But at this very moment, another mist throwing knife suddenly shot out from the end of your scythe. Piercing through layers of rock, it instantly penetrated the forehead of the one named Huang Wu. As you ran past his remains, you felt an unprecedentedly pure purple fear flow into your body. The nether mist cloak on your body became more solid. You found that you could even float off the ground, with a speed faster than a bullet. You turned into a black shadow, rapidly chasing after the final crimson-eyed man. Suddenly, a sharp arrow shot from the side, directly dealing heavy damage to your vitals. You melted into a puddle of water, and quickly reformed. A masked archer landed in front of you. Without a word, he fired another lightning-infused arrow. A water whip lashed out from afar, knocking down the arrow. Leave me be. Save the girl. You roared towards Lu Shishan's direction. Lu Shishan didn't hesitate, and immediately turned to pursue them. In the alleyway, only you and the masked archer remained. Rookie. The masked man shot an arrow into the sky. In the split second you looked up, he appeared behind you like a ghost, and viciously stabbed a lightning-infused dagger into your back. You were instantly electrocuted into a puddle of scorched liquid. Remember in your next life, never take your eyes off the enemy. The masked man sneered, taking out lamp oil, ready to destroy the corpse and erase all traces. But right at this moment, countless spikes violently thrust out from the scorched liquid, directly piercing through his hand. Thanks for the lesson. Your face emerged from the liquid, your tone chilling. Countless nether mist throwing knives shot out from your body, forcing the masked man to scramble in a panic. He miscalculated. He didn't know what your ability actually was. The masked man underestimated his enemy too much. A 16-year-old rookie, how strong could he be? His ring that could release 100,000 volts, combined with the highly toxic poison on his dagger, would take down anyone below the top tier instantly. But he was wrong. Relying purely on experience killed him. Like a seasoned veteran, you wore him down from a distance with your throwing knives. Dozens of minutes later, when he had nowhere left to dodge, 30 throwing knives were fired simultaneously, one accurately hitting his knee. The battle was over, but you were very cautious. Looking at his battered body, you still didn't dare approach. You added a few more stabs, and realized he surprisingly hadn't fallen yet. Enough. Just give me a quick death, the masked man said with difficulty. Good heavens, he still hasn't dropped. You were startled, gaining a new understanding of an awakener's vitality. While using flames to recover your stamina, you kept observing him. This time, you didn't waste any more words, directly forming a flying blade and shooting it at his vitals. Truly cautious enough. You win. The masked man gave a bitter laugh, and suddenly smashed the ring on his hand. Danger! Your hair instantly stood on end. The nether mist wrapped around you in layers. Boom! A bolt of lightning descended from the sky. The masked man was instantly turned to ashes. All the glass in the surrounding houses was shattered. You were sent flying by the aftermath of the thunderstorm. Your heart pounded wildly. The commotion was too loud. The Tiancheng Fox has been alerted. You immediately contacted Lu Sishan. Sister Cece, retreat quickly. Meanwhile, at the City Lord's manor, Prince Moon jumped out the window. The tail behind him split infinitely, covering the entire city like a giant net. All the eyes on the tails opened wide. Inside the cleanup squad's barrier room, Manny, who was on monitor duty, paled. Oh no, the Tiancheng Fox is making a move. She made a split-second decision and directly teleported Lu Sishan, who was fighting the crimson-eyed man, back to the secret room. Meanwhile, before the crimson-eyed man could even react, the Moon Prince appeared right in front of him. Luo Shiyu. The crimson-eyed man recognized this face, but he knew all too well that the one standing before him was the Moon Prince. You know me. The Moon Prince narrowed its eyes. With a flick of its tail, it pulled him close. It sniffed the blade marks on the wall, and sneered. You went through all this to snatch her. I don't know what you're talking about, the crimson-eyed man said stubbornly. Interesting. The prince grinned fiercely, as a tail pierced straight through him. It picked up the unconscious Chen Junting, muttering to itself, if I eat you now, wouldn't that be interesting? At that moment, Chen Junjing woke up. She looked at it, and smiled sweetly. Sister, you're so pretty. The prince's raised hand froze. It wanted to finish the girl off, but simply couldn't bring itself to do it. It turned around, and roared hoarsely, Moon Shadow. Finish her. Moon Shadow lunged from the shadows, but the next moment, its claws plunged into its own shoulder. Your Highness, I can't do it. The prince trembled all over, its tail stopping right in front of Chen Jinjing at the last second. Overwhelmed by an immense sense of guilt, finally, it gritted its teeth, and decided to take Chen Junting back to the City Lord's mansion, for now. Through the Wind Whisperer, you overheard fragments of their conversation, which confirmed your suspicions. Chen Junting's ability is absolutely extraordinary. Taking advantage of the chaos, you returned to the alley and began to loot the spoils. Fighting back your discomfort, you scavenged a copper-ringed lantern and a ring from the two mangled corpses. Just then, a burst of flames erupted beside you, and a red-haired young man swaggered out like a punk. Hey bro, that one's yours. How about it? You turned around slowly, the mask of the Reaper materializing on your face. As your black cloak fluttered without a breeze, you raised the scythe of fear and asked in a hollow voice, "What did you say?" The red-haired youth's legs gave way in terror, and he slumped to the ground. Big bro, let's talk this out." You just stared at him coldly, the scythe stopping right at his neck. A massive amount of purple fear poured from his head, which you completely absorbed. "Next time, keep your eyes open." You retracted your scythe, picked up the loot, and turned to vanish into the darkness. The next day, you woke up to see the Moon Prince's tails floating above the city. The phantom light canopy had essentially failed. Pearl City would now face the invasion of aberrant beasts head-on. Your heart sank. You had no choice but to lay low and forge iron at the soul of iron for now. Meanwhile, at the City Lord's mansion, the Moon Prince looked at Chen Jinting with a massive headache. This girl's ability was far too bizarre. Not only could it not feel any hostility towards her, it couldn't even refuse her requests. Now, it could only keep this little terror by its side, lest she end up redeeming the entire Tiancheng Fox clan. "Sister Luo Shi Yu, aren't your family worried about you?" Chen Jinting asked, blinking her big innocent eyes. "I don't have a family," the Moon Prince replied stiffly. "I don't have a mom either. I grew up with my grandpa. He never lets me go outside. I finally managed to sneak out. I definitely don't want to go back." Chen Jinting poured a cup of tea and said with a grin, "Have some more, sister. The tea I make is the best." The Moon Prince looked at the cup, clearly brewed from cheap leaves, then looked at Chen Jinting's expectant eyes. Finally, it gritted its teeth and downed it in one gulp. As a result, with a whole pot of tea in its stomach, it was so desperate that it had to go to the bathroom. It even retracted the 5 tails monitoring the city. The moment it left, in a secret room within the City Lord's mansion, a man used a special ritual to initiate a connection. "Zhu Zemming, what happened last night?" an old man demanded harshly. "Great Elder, it was an undercover from the cleanup squad. A kid named Jiang Ping ruined our plan," Zhu Zemming answered humbly. "But don't worry, I will deal with him tonight. As for Chen Jinting, she's currently in the Fox's hands. I'll get her out as soon as possible. Make it quick. She is our key to dealing with that old fool, Situ Shibai." "Yes, sir. You were in the restroom, appraising last night's loot. That green lantern, after being infused with your nether mist, actually evolved into the Phantom Lantern. Its effect is absolute invisibility to anyone below the king tier. It was practically a divine artifact. You then appraised the copper ring and the other ring. Unsurprisingly, their crafting processes were full of cruelty. Gritting your teeth, you stored all these items into the golden treasury. Zhang Ping, are you pooping diamonds in there? What's taking so long?" Chu Chang's voice came from outside the door. "Cleanup squad headquarters. Meeting room." Situ Shibai was leading a meeting to review last night's operation. "Cici, go to the armory and pick 2 pieces of equipment. One for yourself, and one as a reward for Zhang Ping." Situ Shibai looked at Lu Sishan with a pointed hint. "Understood." Lu Sishan caught on immediately. He was telling her to go find you tonight. Chen Ming wanted to object, but Situ Shibai silenced him with a single sentence. "This time, I will cover CC myself." City Lord's mansion. Corridor. Zhu Zemming intercepted a Tiancheng fox amidst its killing spree. "Help me take out someone." He handed over a crescent wolf's canine tooth. "Deal." The Tiancheng fox agreed without hesitation. Nighttime. Beastmaster boxing gym. You guys were learning a new move, the Phoenix Claw stance. You handed out the absurdly expensive secret medicine to everyone, cursing the gym 100 times in your head. During free sparring, you walked up to Wang Jiaming. "Let's spar." I haven't even mastered the basics yet," Wang Jiaming said embarrassedly. "It's fine. Just give it a try," you said with a smile. You knew perfectly well that while you were away these past few days, Wang Jiaming had definitely taken quite a beating.